Hey, T-Tippers. Hey, 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 hey. What it do? What it do?
Retired Air Force Brigadier General John Tykert. Good morning to you, General. Great to have you as
Come on
always.
in.
Iran turning the Ayatollah's son to take over in the middle of a war. What does this tell you about?
Come on in. Come on in. We need to get caught up with what's going on. Come on in. Come on in. A lot is going on. It is obvious that we have a leader who is not fighting for us, but fighting, lying to us, lying to them, getting us pulled off and stuff. Everybody is seeing the devil's horns. Everybody's talking about it. And we might as well get caught up with what this administration is doing with our tax dollars and what they are doing against us. Hi, London. You don't know how people voted for this person. Me either. I just don't get it. Brainwashed, a part of a cult. I'm not sure. But let's start here. And then I got some things lined up for us. Let's go.
What do Catholic and Muslim leaders have in common? They both just called Trump stupid. And I don't mean they just said, yeah, he's stupid. Oh, no. To call him an idiot. They called him a moron. And then they blasted him and called him a senile old fool. And I'm going to show you all the details, so stick around and watch. But I'm warning you right now, do not sip your coffee while you watch this, unless you like it when it goes right up your nose. You can't even ask the question, how stupid is Trump, without people thinking you're doing a comedy bit right out of the Johnny Carson Tonight Show. But when you talk about Trump being stupid, the bumbling, vacuous kind of stupid, like wearing a baseball hat that you are selling online to a ceremony for fallen soldiers, and then wearing the same hat when you go golfing later.
Did he say selling online? So he's selling this USA hat online, and he's not even for the US. Isn't that crazy? He has betrayed us, but he has on a hat. He is a deceiver. I promise. And I'm not being funny. If and ever we have seen, or we thought we have seen, or wonder what God meant in the Bible when he said a deceiver of many disguises. Baby, this one right here has disguised everything right in our face. He got people really thinking that he is for the United States. Isn't that crazy? It blow my mind. He's selling this hat and people are probably buying it. And he don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing to him but $1. Let's go.
Online to a ceremony for fallen soldiers, and then wearing the same hat when you go golfing later? That's stupid. But it's a whole nother league of stupid to bomb a girls' elementary school, kill over 150 schoolgirls, and then post a video like this one that equates murdering innocent victims with playing video games.
Playing video games.
Kill over 150 schoolgirls, and then post a video like this one. Stupid. To bomb a girls' elementary school, kill over 150 schoolgirls, and then post a video like this one that equates murdering innocent victims with playing video games.
What does the
Well, one of
world
the
come
people who
to?
saw that posting was Cardinal Blaise Cupich, the Archbishop of Chicago. To say Cupich was outraged would be a bit of an understatement. He was white, hot, angry, and he issued a statement that tore Trump to shreds. So, video.
Let's
To
go,
say
Bishop.
Supich was outraged would be a bit of an understatement. He was white hot angry, and he issued a statement that tore Trump to
Hey, Mimi.
shreds. Supich began by noting that more than 1,000 Iranian men, women, and children lay dead after days of bombardment from U.S. and Israeli missiles, and then drew attention to the video before...
And the sad part about it is they really want people to believe that only 7 in 10 days, only 7 of our citizens that are over there in foreign countries that are being bombed, as well as servicemen and women, only 7. I'm looking, I want y'all to think I'm looking straight at y'all, like, for real. So you just, every time we turn around, you lying. And now we gonna find out that who really is fighting this war for you. Who is being the FOOL for you. Okay, but let's go.
saying this. A real war with real death and real suffering being treated like it's a video game? It's sickening. In other words, you childlike idiot, this is not a game, it's people's lives, and you're too stupid and morally depraved to acknowledge it. The Cardinal then called out on the rest of us to take offense at this trivializing and reduction of war. He went on to say, the moral crisis we are facing is not just a matter of the war itself, but also how we, the observers, view violence. For war has now become a spectator sport or strategy game. In other words, wake up, people, the clown is playing you. And then the Cardinal dropped the hammer by concluding, the longer we remain blind to the terrible consequences of war, the more we are risking
you for the flowers.
The most precious gift God gave us, our humanity. I know that the American people are better than this. We have the good sense to know that what is happening is not entertainment, but war, and that Iran is a nation of people, not a video game others play to entertain us. All right, full stop on others play to entertain us. Supich is trying to wake people up by saying, come on, people, you can't follow a guy so demented that he thinks real war is as entertaining as a video game.
Wow.
But if Supich is trying to rally Christians to reject Trump, then Emirati billionaire Khalaf Ahmad al-Habtoor is trying to unite the Muslims of the world. Already famous for calling out Trump by asking, who gave you authority to drag us into war? Habtoor just took to social media again to call out Trump by criticizing his lackey, Lyin'Sey Graham, who went on a media blitz trying to get Gulf nations to enter the war against Iran.
I call
Habtoor did not hold back.
Not Lyin'Sey. That's lie. What I put, Lyin'Sey. Lyin'Sey. Yeah, Lyin'Sey Graham. Just Lyin'Sey instead of Lyin'Sey Graham. I mean, woo, we gonna hear him lie, connive, manipulate everybody. I mean, he playing the devil's game, ain't he? Whoever, I mean, this is crazy. He said pro-Israel, pretty much over pro-USA. But let's go, though. Lyin'Sey.
It's trying to get Gulf nations to enter the war against Iran. Habtoor did not hold back, posting this. I heard the statements of U.S. Senator Lyin'Sey Graham in which he calls on the Gulf Cooperation Council countries to enter this war, saying that we are also under attack and that we must join the fight. And I say to him clearly, we know full well why we are under attack, and we also know who dragged the entire region into this dangerous escalation without consulting those he calls his allies in the region. Yep, that's pretty much the polite way of saying, look, just because your leader is stupid, don't fool yourself into thinking we're just as stupid. But then he excoriated Trump, writing, "And we have no need for someone who claims he came to the Middle East to save us. The truth is that hasty American decisions are what embroiled the region in a war whose peoples were not party to its decision-making, and its local allies were not consulted before it was launched." It's not hard to read in between the lines here and see that Trump is being called a liar and a fool. And his conclusion really hits Trump right in the gun, writing,
Slapped him right
"And
on
we
down.
have no need for someone who claims he came to the Middle East to save us. The truth is that hasty American decisions are what embroiled the region in a war whose peoples were not party to its decision-making, and its local allies were not consulted before it was launched." It's not hard to read in between the lines here and see that Trump is being called a liar and a fool. And his conclusion really hits Trump right in the gonads. "We will not enter this war to serve the interests of others, nor will we sacrifice our sons in a conflict that could have been avoided through diplomacy and political
And
solutions."
he ain't gonna sacrifice his son
So pretty
either.
much saying, don't come crying to us because you made a
That's the
huge
funny part
mistake.
about it.
You broke it.
They not
deal with
gonna-
it. But
they
the
not
real
gonna
jab
jeopardize
at
they
Trump is
they
the line
young
about
people's lives
Consulate
either.
did not hold back, posting this. "I heard the statements of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham in which he
Lying
calls on the
ass.
Gulf Cooperation Council countries to enter this war, saying that we are also under attack and that we must join the fight. And I say to him clearly, we know full well why we are under attack, and we also know who dragged the entire region into this dangerous escalation without consulting those he calls his allies in the region."
Didn't come.
Yep, that's pretty much the
consult
polite way of saying,
Congress,
look, just
nor
because your leader is
the
stupid, don't fool yourself
allies.
into thinking we're just as stupid. But
Thank you,
then
Janet,
he excoriated
flowers.
Trump, writing, "And we have no need for someone who claims he came to the Middle East to save us. The truth is that hasty American decisions are what embroiled the region in a war whose peoples were not party to its decision-making, and its local allies were not consulted before it was launched." It's not hard to read in between the lines here and see that Trump is being called a liar and a fool. And his conclusion really hits Trump right in the gonads.
Knocked
"We
his
will
ass
not enter
down.
this war to serve the interests of others, nor will we sacrifice our sons in a conflict that could have been avoided through diplomacy and political solutions."
Could have been avoided. Could have been avoided. They are saying this wasn't your war. And don't expect us to hop in here and save you in a war that you shouldn't be in. Silly rabbit. And we ain't falling for none of that hocus pocus, abba jabba juba juba, voodoo woo woo, satanic lion tree. Yeah, a lion tree. Yeah, we ain't falling for none of that. None of that. You're a liar, and it don't matter who you seen, Lyin'Sey, Graham. Hell, you in the closet. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't know who you are. Yeah, we ain't going for none of it. Yeah, they say he hiding out of Mar-a-Lago. You talking about BB Netanyahu? Yep, that's what they say.
So pretty much saying, don't come crying to us because a conflict that could have been avoided through diplomacy and political solutions. So pretty much saying, don't come crying to us because you made a huge mistake. You broke it, you deal with it. But the real jab at Trump is the line
Barron
about
must go to
sacrificing
war.
our sons. A remark aimed at
Trump
making the
Jr.
American
bone
people
spreaders.
aware
Yep.
that Trump is sending their
ain't trying to
sons
hear
and
that.
daughters to a battle his own son will not fight. And sure enough,
Oh,
this is
say that
now day
again.
6, where
Say that again.
he's sending their sons and daughters to a battle his own son will not fight.
Yeah, no.
And sure enough, this is now day 6, where Barron Trump could volunteer at a recruitment
Say it
center,
loud.
but he's too busy.
Yeah, Barron.
Barron
We
Trump
want
could
Barron.
volunteer at a recruitment center,
Yeah.
but he's too busy.
Busy doing what?
Hashtag send Baron. Hashtag the Yellow Baron. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for
Hashtag
Occupy.
what? I like that. Hold on. Hashtag send Baron. Hashtag the Yellow Baron. Yeah, let's get these hashtags together. I love it. Hashtag send Baron. Hashtag the Yellow Baron. BARRON. Let's keep it going. I'm with it. I am absolutely with it. Let's go.
Hashtag the Yellow Baron. Recruitment Center, but he's too busy. Hashtag send Baron. Hashtag the Yellow Baron. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy.
Let's go. What's next? What's next, good people? Let's go. What else I got? Yeah, it's a madhouse today.
Donald Trump, despite his bone spurs problem that made him dodge 5 separate call-ups to the Vietnam War, didn't stop him going for a round of golf today. A round of golf today.
A round of
whilst
golf.
The world is in total chaos. Economy is crashing.
I thought he had heel
kingdoms
spurs.
falling, and all as a result of decisions that he made based, he said, on his feelings. Well, Lyin'Sey Graham is beaming broadly, and I mean in the sense of his mouth, not anything else. Lyin'Sey Graham is practically running this war for Donald Trump, and he says they're going to blow the Iranian people away over the next 2 weeks. Yet the New York Times this very evening is reporting that Trump has changed his mind and may well be about to declare victory and call off the war. The casualty figure of the American armed forces laughably suppressed to 6, and they were received with dignity by the families and the military brass and, well, the other brass, Melania, and Donald Trump dressed like a Sopranos underboss with a white baseball cap, which he didn't even take off as the coffins passed him by. But news out of Stuttgart, which is the medical center for American dead and wounded, are reporting 600 American casualties in the war so far. And when you see the videos, which we have been able to see, and the ones that are suppressed, the ones you're paying for at the BBC with your license fee, of course, are not allowed to show the impact of Iranian missiles. But the impact is clear enough. They are now landing without any kind of intercession. They are now hitting Israel at will. And this is an entire sea change from both the 12-day war and from the expectation, which must have been prevalent when they launched their war just over a week ago. Donald Trump, despite his bone spurs problem that made him dodge 5 separate call-ups to the Vietnam War, didn't stop him going for a round of golf today. A round of golf today, whilst the world is in total chaos. Economy is crashing, kingdoms falling, and all as a result of decisions that he made based, he said, on his feelings. Well, Lyin'Sey Graham is beaming broadly, and I mean in the sense of his mouth, not anything else. Lyin'Sey Graham is practically running this war for Donald Trump, and he says they're going to blow the Iranian people away over the next 2 weeks. Yet the New York Times this very evening is reporting that Trump has changed his mind and may well be about to declare victory and call off the war. The casualty figure of the American armed forces laughably suppressed to 6, and they were received with dignity by the families and the military brass and, well, the other brass, Melania, and Donald Trump dressed like a Sopranos underboss with a white baseball cap, which he didn't even take off as the coffins passed him by. But news out of Stuttgart, which is the medical center for American dead and wounded, are
hundreds. Hundreds. Why he over there lying?
I ask Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
I appreciate.
I ask Jews all over the world.
Yep. Big hypocrite.
All hell is breaking loose as Donald Trump's former allies in the Middle East and elsewhere are refusing to help Donald Trump and his regime in this war with
We ain't
any
got no help.
offensive operations. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and others are saying, count me out. Also, former allies of the United States, and it pains me to say this though, like Spain, France, and the United Kingdom and others are like, we'll do a defensive posture in this war, but we're not helping you offensively right now. This is an unlawful war. You heard Prime Minister Carney of Canada also say that, and you know, these leaders, whether it's French President Emmanuel Macron or Prime Minister Carney of Canada, they're the ones now calling up all these leaders in the Middle East,
People in
and they're
Gaza
trying to
have
say, look, we've
a
got your back. You
Democrat
know, the United
election.
States
They elected
is
the
just in an
terrorists.
utter state of disarray as a result
they had a
of
chance,
Donald Trump's
they
warmongering
do
right
it
now.
again.
And so Donald
Well,
Trump
hopefully those
sends
people-
Lindsey Graham to go on state regime media
No,
and just start
send
threatening
them,
all of
yeah.
these countries. Hey, Saudi Arabia,
Hashtag,
you're not ever
that's
going
right.
to be in a defense treaty with us if you don't go to war with us right now.
Donald Trump
to all
the
these Middle
third.
East countries,
Who is Donald
we are
Trump the
not going to
third?
be your friends if you don't help us out right now.
Jenna, who is
Hey,
Donald Trump the
Spain,
third?
we should probably kick you out of NATO and take away your Air Force bases. Your behavior is totally unacceptable. I mean, you have a completely and utterly unhinged Lindsey Graham right now. And then meanwhile, if you listen to the statements that are coming out in a lot of these Arab nations and a lot of their leadership right there and some of their wealthy business people right there, you know, they're saying to the United States, don't drag us into this at all. We know where this is coming from. You invaded Iran. And we're not here making excuses and pretending that Iran's some great nation. They are causing great instability. But we warned you about precisely this, and you didn't consult us, and you did this unlawful war against Iran, and now the Middle East countries are paying the price for your behavior. Let's just go through this piece by piece, as we always do here on the Midas Touch Network, with the receipt, giving you facts, all the facts, and nothing but the facts. Also, make sure you hit subscribe. You may think you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, but you may not actually be subscribed, so just double check if you can. So earlier in the day yesterday, Lyin'Sey Graham starts threatening Saudi Arabia if it doesn't join the fight against Iran. Why should we do any defense agreement with you? You call yourself the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but you're unwilling to join a fight for mutual interest?
Look at him.
Hopefully this changes soon. If not, consequences will follow, MBS. And
He
should be
threatening
noted
folks.
that the Iranian foreign
Lyin'Sey.
minister, Araghchi,
Lyin'Sey
says
Graham.
Saudi officials are fully committed to not letting their territory, water, and airspace be used against Iran. You have Lyin'Sey Graham going on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, and he just ticks off every nation. Spain, Macron, Great Britain, wake up. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE,
I mean, he's just
decide
on one.
now. God bless all you.
Like he got all this power.
Saudi Arabia, if it doesn't join the fight against Iran. Why should we do any defense agreement with you? You call yourself the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but your YouTube channel, but you may not actually
Manipulating
be subscribed, so just double check
with his
if you can. So earlier in the day
PONK
yesterday,
ass.
Lyin'Sey Graham starts threatening Saudi Arabia if it doesn't join the fight against Iran. Why should we do any defense agreement with you?
Closet
You call
ass.
yourself the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but you're unwilling to join a fight for mutual interest?
Hell no.
Hopefully this changes soon. If not, consequences will follow, MBS. And should be noted that the Iranian foreign minister, Araghchi, says Saudi officials are fully committed to not letting their territory, water, and airspace be used against Iran. You have Lyin'Sey Graham going on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, and he just ticks off every nation. Spain, Macron, Great Britain, wake up. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, decide now. God bless. So you have Hannity, and then you have Hannity saying that. Then Lyin'Sey Graham's like, God bless Israel. God bless Israel. We should move all of our stuff to Israel. Until my dying day, Lyin'Sey Graham says, I'm with Israel. How about the United States of America? What the hell are we doing for the American people who can't afford things right now? Who can't pay their rent? Who can't afford to go to university or send their kids to school? Who can't afford groceries? Who are getting their health care ripped away? You know, manufacturing jobs right now are less in 2026 than they were when Trump started doing tariffs in 2018 during his first term. Donald Trump's causing a manufacturing recession right now. We are in a jobs recession right now, but I digress. Here's Lyin'Sey Graham attacking Spain and saying, basically, I'm encouraging Donald Trump to move all of our bases out of Spain. Here, play this clip.
To our friends in Spain, man, you've lost your way. I don't want to do business with you anymore. I want our air bases out of Spain into a country that will let us use them. To our Arab friends, I've tried to help you construct a new Mideast. You need to up your game here. I can't go to South Carolina and say we're fighting and you won't publicly fight. What you're doing behind the scenes, that has to stop. The double dealing of the Arab world when it comes to this stuff.
So that means that they double
And then he
dealing
says about
behind
Saudi
the scenes.
Arabia, you have an obligation to help us. Our embassy was hit. You must go to war with us. Saudi Arabia's like, no thank you. Play this clip.
Finally, to my friends in Saudi Arabia, I've been your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince is
So y'all do know that that's what that means.
completely different.
Everything that he's saying, trying to bully him. Yeah. I think Donald Jr., ain't he too old? Ain't he too old to be drafted? Yeah, he trying to bully somebody. Lying and trying to strong arm with his soft self. With his soft self. He looks soft. He look like he got female skin. Real cushiony. You know. Yeah. All up real good. I can't believe him. Whatever, in the closet.
I'm encouraging Donald Trump to move all of our bases out of Spain. Here, play this clip.
To our friends in Spain, man, you've lost your way. I don't want to do business with you anymore. I want our air bases out of Spain into a country that will let us use them. To our Arab friends, I've tried to help you construct a new Mideast. You need to up your game here. I can't go to South Carolina.
Only
say
one
we're
that can be
fighting,
drafted
and you won't publicly
is
fight. What you're
Barron.
doing behind the scenes.
I
that
think the
has to
rest of them
stop. The
too
double
old.
dealing of the Arab world when it comes to this stuff needs to end.
And then he says about Saudi Arabia, you have an obligation to help us. Our embassy was hit. You must go to war with us. Saudi Arabia's like, no, thank you. Play
But
this
I'll
clip.
double
Finally, to my
check.
friends in Saudi Arabia, I've been your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction in a good way. But here's what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to
The
give you protection in
daughters
perpetuity.
are old
Under the
enough to be
agreement I've been
drafted.
pushing, and I
Also,
hope
the
we can
whole
continue
crime
to talk
family need
about,
to go. Yeah,
if you're
let me
attacked
see
by
what the
Iran, we would go to war
draft
for you.
age
To
is.
Saudi
I thought it
Arabia,
was an
our
age
embassy
limit.
was hit in Riyadh. Do you not have an obligation to join the fight with us? You have to do that. So if you do not believe the American embassy being attacked in Riyadh would trigger mutual self-defense, maybe we shouldn't do a treaty with you. To our friends in United Arab Emirates, you
As
joined
of March
Abraham Accords when nobody
2026,
else would.
let's just
You've been
get this correct because I don't like misinformation. As of March 26, nearly all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants, I thought they didn't want immigrants, documented or undocumented, living in the United States must register with the Selective Service System between ages 18 and 25. 18 and 25. So Donald Jr.'s son. Oh, okay. Because when you saying the third, so you saying the son is the third. Okay, I thought you was implying Barron. Let me see something. Okay. While there is no height requirement to register for the U.S. Selective Service, active duty militant, in the draft, generally require men and women to be between 4'10" and 6'8". Applicants outside that range may be rejected. Yeah. Yeah, no. Get his ass on in there. So right now there is no limit on the age. On the height. There is a range. Yeah, but there is no limit.
great partner, but you said today publicly at the UN, your country would not be, you have to do that. So if you do not believe the American embassy being attacked in Riyadh would trigger mutual self-defense, maybe we shouldn't do a treaty with you. To our friends in the United Arab Emirates, you joined the Abraham Accords when nobody else would. You've been a great partner, but you said today publicly at the UN, your country would not be used to join the fight against the Ayatollahs.
And this is where Hannity's like, Spain, Macron, you need to step up. And Lindsey Graham's like, God bless Israel. They're the only ones with us right now. You're close, Lindsey, to understanding the issue right now. You're close, Lindsey. You're the issue. What you're saying there is the problem. Here, play this clip.
God bless you for trying. God bless you for destroying this regime.
And Spain, Macron, and Great Britain, they either wake up. This is their tipping point moment too. Just like the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, you decide now. UAE, decide now. Qatar, decide now. Because I'm a little sick and tired of the constant threading of needles. They
Look at that.
wanted
That's
the
why I don't.
Iranians
That's why I
stopped.
don't watch Haggerty.
You're close, Lindsay.
Yeah, no.
You are the issue. What you're saying there is the problem. Here, play this clip.
God bless you for trying. God bless you for destroying this regime.
And Spain, Macron, and Great Britain, they either wake up. This is their tipping point moment too. Just like the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, you decide now. UAE, decide now. Qatar, decide now. Because I'm a little sick and tired of the constant threading of needles. They wanted the Iranians
Chanel,
stopped as
Maxwell's.
much as the Israelis did.
Absolutely.
I'm here.
God bless Israel.
All right, we should move
Chase
all our stuff to
is
Israel.
sick. Oh,
And then Lindsey Graham again.
I hope you
Remember,
feel
he's
better.
a proxy for Trump. Like, this is state regime media, right? So you have Lindsey Graham, Hannity. They're programmed what to say by Donald Trump. So this is
y'all
their
hear this?
move.
They are programmed. So when people be trying to get me to go listen to Haggerty, I don't. That's why I couldn't find him that day. Cause he full of the diaper mess. Yeah, he all up in that diaper mess. Got his hands and nose and shit all up in that diaper. Yeah, that's why I had a hard time finding him that other day. I don't know if I blocked him or what, but I don't like that program stuff. You know, program, they all be in unison. They all saying the same thing over and over. That's why I don't like them plays and skits and stuff in the Mo3 sector. One person having the problem with they significant other, they boyfriend or whatever, then or they homie or whatever, they team, then everybody else started following suit and creating the same scenario where everybody's repeating the same thing and putting their own twist on it. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's a controlled narrative. But carry on. So when people be trying to tell me something about Haggerty, I'm going to dismiss it respectfully. Because
Qatar,
they
decide now. 'Cause I'm a little sick
have a
and tired
speech.
of the constant threading of needles. They wanted the Iranians stopped as much as the Israelis did.
Absolutely. God bless Israel.
All right, we should move all our stuff to Israel.
Thank you.
And then Lindsey Graham again. Remember, he's a proxy
Y'all hear
for
that?
Trump.
What was the last thing
Like,
he
this is
said?
state regime
What did he
media,
say?
right? So you have
That we need to move everything to Israel. Y'all hear this shit? Are y'all listening with your good ear? Yeah, let me back that thing up. Let's go.
And Spain, Macron, and Great Britain, they either wake up. This is their tipping point moment too. Just like the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, you decide now. UAE, decide now. Qatar, decide now. Because I'm a little sick and tired of the constant threading of
Look at
needles.
her.
They wanted the Iranians
Look at
stopped
her.
as much as the Israelis did.
Absolutely. God bless Israel.
All right, we should move all our stuff to Israel.
God bless Israel. We should move all our things to Israel. They're not fighting for us, y'all. God bless this lady, right? I mean, this Kim Shem said, God bless Israel. We should move all of our things to Israel. How long have I been telling y'all they plan to leave the U.S. as a third world country, and their plan is to move to Israel? How long have I been telling y'all that? So since y'all didn't believe me, y'all wasn't listening to me. Will y'all listen to Lyin'Sey Graham? Just lying Lizzie. Yeah. Will you believe me now? Everything I've been telling y'all even before the war, what their plan was. I told y'all to pay attention with your good eye and listen with your good ear. Y'all should already know this by now, because I've been preaching this for months. So let me back that thing up. And then y'all had a nerve to not want to hit the fucking like button or support this platform who has been preaching the truth to y'all since Charlie Kirk was unalive. in this matter. And I can't get you to hit the like button. But y'all hit the like button, send super chats, super stickers, cash app, you know, do any and everything for people who don't do nothing but sit up and lie to y'all. Repeat everything Fox 4, CNN, and all them other folk that is controlled by Trump. Them. And it pisses me off because I take my time to research the ones, the people who are spitting the truth to y'all so that y'all can hear it. And I can't get you to hit the like button. I can't get you to send some gems. Mrs. Graham cries at night because he can't come out of the closet. That's right now. My lights need to go up before I go any step further because I done told y'all this stuff a long time ago. And y'all didn't believe me. Let me do this paperwork. If y'all don't move, I ain't moving. It's just that simple. Y'all come over here telling me stuff that other people done said, that misinformation bull crap, because y'all really don't know who to listen to. This fool said, move all your stuff to Israel.
Their wake up. This is their tipping point moment too. Just like the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, you decide now. UAE, decide now. Qatar, decide now. Because I'm a little sick and tired of
he said, "Amen."
The constant threading of needles.
Listen to her.
They
Amen.
wanted the Iranians stopped as much as the Israelis did.
Absolutely. God bless Israel. All right. We should move all our stuff to Israel.
God bless Israel.
And then Lyin'Sey Graham again. Remember, he's a proxy for Trump. Like, this is state regime media, right? So you have Lyin'Sey Graham, Hannity. They're programmed what to say by Donald Trump. So this is their move to attack the rest of the world. Here's what Lyin'Sey Graham says. If the regime of Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake.
Wow.
And then Lyin'Sey Graham again. He's a proxy for Trump. Like, this is state regime media, right? So you have Lyin'Sey Graham, Hannity. They're programmed what to say by Donald Trump. So this is their move to attack the rest of the world. Here's what Lyin'Sey Graham says. If the regime of Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. Okay, so now it is about regime change again. Here, play this clip.
I believe with all my heart and soul, if the regime in Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They've been lying about what they're doing with their nuclear program. They want a bomb because they're Nazis. They're crazy.
More attacks on...
I thought Trump hit the nuclear weapon of mass destruction in June. Is that not what he said? Lyin'Sey, make up your mind. Your lies are falling apart.
Regime in Iran still stands when this is over. We've made a mistake.
You made a mistake when you lied and said that Trump hit the weapons of mass destruction in June. Now you're saying they have weapons of mass destruction. Who lied? Are you lying now, or did he lie then?
Still stands when this is over. We've made a mistake. Okay, so now it is about regime change again. Here, play this clip.
I believe with all my heart and soul, if the
what heart
regime
and soul?
in Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They've been lying about what they're doing with their nuclear program.
They said, you said, Trump said, your master said that he hit it. He hit it in June. It was obliterated. So why are we losing this war? That's not ours. Why are they tagging y'all asses? Man, y'all so full of shit.
They want to
Full of
bomb
diaper
because they're
mess.
Nazis. I believe with all my heart and soul, if the regime in Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They've been lying about what they're doing with their nuclear program. They want to bomb because they're Nazis. They're crazy.
More attacks on Saudi Arabia.
He said that
I was with my friends in Saudi
obliterated
Arabia.
it back in
I've been
June.
your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction. In
Hey,
a good
Candy.
way.
Hey, Be
But here's
Rich.
what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity.
You begging your ass off, ain't you? Why are you doing so much begging if you winning? Huh? Winners don't beg. I thought we was the strongest. Winners don't beg. What the fuck are we doing? Winners don't beg. Saudi, please. Saudi. Saudi, very Saudi. Yeah, I know he told you this, that, and the other before. I know. Please forgive us. Please. I'm willing to. I'll make the deal. Yeah, I'll make the deal. Yeah, move Trump out the way. Let me make the deal for you. I know he lied. I know he ain't truthful. Please, Saudi, please. You begging your ass off. You done begged Spain, how dare you? Earlier you were saying it is your obligation. That's your duty to get that booty. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist, y'all. Let's make a deal. It's your duty to tap that booty. Yeah. How we number one and you begging your ass off? Where they do that at? Come on. Let's go, man. I ain't never in my life seen so much begging. Winners begging. Toughest. Please. Please, baby, please. Yeah. I'm telling you, you got them skills, them begging skills. Please, baby, please. Please. All up in everybody's ear. So that means when you ran your ass over to Israel, yeah, to convince, to infiltrate, yeah, on the coup, tell Bibi Netanyahu what he needed to say in Donald's ear, how to stroke his ego, yeah, to go ahead and push that button. Yeah, you playing off and let me tell you what to say. Rub him the right way. I know exactly what he need and what he want. Yeah, you have to stroke him the right way. Some hoe shit. He the administrative hoe. Yeah, in the closet ass, begging more than just. Please, please, please. Please, please, please. Please, please. Yeah, you got to get deep out up in there. Yeah. And then you over here begging, but want to claim victory. Surrender on the coup, and then claim victory. Trying to say only 7 of our U.S. military have been unalived. Just lying. Just lying. Straight up liar. And Lyin'Sey ass is sure enough scared of them Epstein files. Because one thing about it, what they say, one thing for sure, I don't know. One thing, I don't know. The truth is, he in them files too. Sasha Riley done pent his ass up against the wall. So him, Supreme Court Justice, what's his name? Jim Shorts Johnson, Andy Biggs, yeah. And many more was tampering with them minors, especially boys. Yeah. Now put that in your pipe and smoke it. Let's go. Big and ass.
Here's what Lindsey Graham says. If the regime of Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. Okay, so now it is about regime change again? Here, play this clip.
I believe with all my heart and soul, if the regime in Iran still stands when this is over, we've made a mistake. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would.
Oh, y'all done already made a mistake.
About what they're doing.
Y'all did indeed make a mistake ucking with Iran, thinking they wasn't prepared for y'all. You absolutely made a mistake thinking that y'all can run y'all asses over there and do what the fuck you want to, and they've been watching how you move and operate for 20 damn years. You underestimated Iran, and they've been sitting waiting for y'all to come ucking with them for no reason. Trying to make peace. Jared over there negotiating. They did partial agreements with Trump, and he reneged twice. Let him renege so that they can do a practice drill on y'all asses. Yeah, you made a mistake. That's like a bully uck around and try to bully the wrong person who know Jinsu, voodoo, karate, kickboxing. Yeah, call themselves going and bully, the little people. Yeah, the ones that don't look like they can fight. Fuck around and find out that they got all type of defensive skills. All type of level, at the highest level. And get their ass tore up from the floor up. They have to learn the hard way. Keep your hands to your step. Stop underestimating. Yeah, stop bragging about skills that your ass really don't have. Yeah, you send somebody else to handle that. Can't you get somebody to handle that? Yeah, ain't that what he told the limo driver? Limo driver, can you handle that? Not knowing. Yeah, you knew him though. You knew his people. Yeah. So when you said that to that limo driver, you knew who he was. He just didn't know or didn't remember that you was the person who violated him in the 70s. He didn't remember because he had suppressed it until you intentionally tried to bully him and remind him. That man got a body on you, Trump, and 2 essays. Yeah, no, y'all don't want them Epstein files, them other ones that you holding on to. Yeah, y'all don't want that release. And not only can he pin bodies and essays on you, he can put Jim Short Johnson. What was the other guy? Murdoch. He can name names. Yeah, he could even talk about your shiesty, dirty business deals. He knows you. You know his family. Boy, I know good and damn well you don't want all of them files to come out. And it ain't just him. It ain't just the limo driver. Yeah, you know Sasha Riley's family. Adopted family. Oh yeah. You done got real dirty and sloppy. You just couldn't stop because you was auctioning off minors. And your whole family involved in it. knows about it. Even Ivanka, Eric, and Donald Jr. Yeah, your scary ass. And Lindsay, your ass is up in there too. That's why you begging.
My heart and soul. If the regime in Iran still stands,
You
when
made
this
a
is
deal
over,
with the
we've made a
devil.
mistake. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They've been lying about what they're doing with their nuclear program. They want a bomb because they're Nazis. They're crazy.
More attacks on Saudi Arabia. Let's play it.
Finally, to my friends in Saudi Arabia, I've been your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction in a good way. But here's what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity.
Begging.
Under the agreement I've been pushing,
Listen,
and I hope we can
please.
continue to talk
If that
about.
don't work,
you're
if that
attacked
don't
by
work,
Iran, we would go.
if that don't work, let me tell you what else I can do for you. I am willing to give you my last. Look at it. Look at him. Begging that ass out. Hey, Natural in New Orleans. Begging his ass off. Listen to me, please. If that don't work, let me say this. I can't get over the begging. Winners do not beg. Winners don't beg. Winners say they pop their collar. You begging because you're losing.
And I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction in a good way. But here's what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity. Under the agreement I've been pushing, and I hope we can continue to talk about,
We ain't got nothing to talk
we would
about.
go to war for you.
And here Lindsey Graham says, I will be with Israel until my dying day.
They not
Until
here
my
for us,
dying
y'all.
day. Here, play this clip.
All the anti-Seminites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with it.
Ooh.
Dying day. Here, play this clip.
All the anti-Seminites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it.
You don't what? You don't even want to say what you wanted to say. You just jumped to forget it. I'm with Israel.
My dying day. Until my dying day. Here, play this clip.
All the anti-Seminites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you.
Yeah, he was finna manipulate. I don't believe y'all know. I don't believe y'all understand. I don't believe what? What was you finna say? Then you just said forget it. Look at you. You look pitiful. You look pitiful. Thank you, Natural in New Orleans. You look scared. Not scared. Scared. And pitiful. Begging. You done started a war that your ass cannot win. And you scared. And you begging. Get your ass out of here.
Seminites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be
Look at him.
the isolationists. I don't believe.
Until my dying day. Here, play this clip.
All the anti-Seminites, to all the isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel.
I'm not with
Israel
you.
To our dying day. They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have a commander-in-chief in President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus.
Okay, I've got some important news, so just give me a quick minute to break it down. Trump's
What type
war
of
against the
shit?
70s. Now, imagine if the U.S. we're talking about the Journal is calling it the most severe energy crisis since the start of this war. Oil prices are skyrocketing.
I can't
and so
believe
is
he
the
made
price of
that
gas.
statement. I can't
The Wall
believe
Street
he
Journal
did
is
it.
calling it the most severe energy crisis since the 1970s. Now,
Israel.
imagine if the U.S.
I'm
had
with
a
that.
resilient, clean energy infrastructure that made us less reliant on fossil fuels.
Hey, Cynthia.
Prioritizing clean energy isn't just good for the environment, it's strategically smart. Trump has discussed getting rid of these clean energy programs as part of his America First agenda, but in reality, it's the definition of putting America last.
Absolutely.
As always, we want to hear from you. Do you think the U.S. should be prioritizing clean energy? Are your gas bills or other energy bills going up?
Thank y'all for
Sound
helping
off
me
now in
reach the goal of the first
Make some
hour.
noise. I'm going to be reading all the comments.
59
Back to you.
minutes
Also,
in.
Hey friends, Eric here, and in this video I want to
Thank
talk to you
you.
about how you can retire.
I'm
with
about to
just
roll over it
$300,000.
to the
Most
second
people can
hour.
Mark Levin, who's one of Donald Trump's close advisors,
Hey,
who's a host
Melissa.
on state regime media, said, "Is Iran a short-term exclusion or unconditional surrender and complete defeat? Is it a condition-based operation or a time-based operation? Inquiring minds
Wanna
want
know.
to know." Meanwhile, Bahrain residential apartment complexes are being hit. Bahrain's Bobco oil refinery,
Gats
its
Pat.
main oil refinery was hit, and they had to declare a force majeure. That's what's going on. Let me
What
read for
happened?
you what Emirati billionaire main oil refinery was hit, and they had to declare a force majeure. That's what's going on. Let me read for you what Emirati billionaire Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtour had to say yesterday after hearing various statements from Lindsey Graham. He goes, "I heard the statements of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham." By the way, this is a very influential Emirati businessman. United Arab Emirates, right?
Hey,
as
Max
Abu
to the
Dhabi
boogie.
and Dubai are in the
Thank you
UAE.
for the makeup
Because I heard the
brush.
statements of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, in which he calls on the Gulf Cooperation Council countries to enter this war, saying that we are also under attack and that we must join the fight. And I say to him clearly, we know full well why we are under attack, and we also know who dragged the entire region into this dangerous escalation without consulting those he calls his allies in the region. We thank God that the United Arab Emirates and the Gulf Cooperation Council countries are doing well, and we have no need for someone who claims he came to the Middle East to save us. The truth is that the hasty American decisions are what embroiled the region in a war, whose peoples were not party to its decision-making, and its local allies were not consulted.
Listen to it
Ahmad
again.
Al Habtour had to say yesterday after hearing various statements from Lindsey Graham. He goes, "I heard the statements of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham." By the way, this is a very influential Emirati businessman. United Arab Emirates, right, has Abu Dhabi and Dubai are in the UAE. He goes, "I heard the statements of U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, in which he calls on the Gulf Cooperation Council countries to enter this war, saying that we are also under attack and that we must join the fight." And I say to him clearly, we know full well why we are under attack, and we also know who dragged the entire region into this dangerous escalation without consulting those he calls his allies in the region. We thank God that the United Arab Emirates and the Gulf Cooperation Council countries are doing well, and we have no need for someone who claims he came to the Middle East to save us. The truth is that the hasty American decisions are what embroiled the region in a war, whose peoples were not party to its decision-making, and its local allies were not consulted before it was launched. We do not deny the Iranian threat to the region, which has become clear in recent days. We do not trust Iran, but this is a dirty game.
Get the
in which
lights up,
several
y'all.
powers clash at the expense of our region with no honor in it and no transparency. In this scene, Iran, Israel, and the United States all move according to their own interests, not according to the interest of the people of the Middle Eastern Arab countries. And for this reason, we say it clearly, we will not enter
For
this war
they
to
own
serve the interest of others,
reason.
nor will we sacrifice our sons in a conflict in which several powers clash at the expense of our region with no honor in it and no transparency. In this scene, Iran, Israel, and the United States all move according to their own interests, not according to the interest of the people of the Middle Eastern Arab countries. And for this reason, we say it clearly, we will not enter this war to serve the interest of others, nor will we sacrifice our sons in a conflict that could have been avoided through diplomacy and political solutions. We value the lives of our sons, and we do not treat their souls as collateral damage as some do. Nothing in this world is more precious than the lives of our sons, and no alliance with any country in the world is worth risking these lives. If President Donald Trump and Senator Graham are prepared to risk their country and the lives of Americans for Israel's interest, that is their choice. As for us, we will not do the same. Senator Graham says they are the Arabs' allies and that we need to benefit from U.S. protection. And I say to him this, we do not need your protection. All we want from you is to keep your hands off us. He also says, we sell you weapons, as if that were a service the United States provides us. The truth is that this is no favor from anyone. We invest in our
He
security.
said, we
and
sell
pay
you
billions of dollars
weapons.
for these weapons.
Did you
And it is a
forget?
massive trade and industry built on these deals. In fact, the United States itself is now trying to buy
Listen,
weapons.
every time y'all asses try to lie, we gonna put it out there. We gonna put the truth out there. So stop tripping, clown. We sell you weapons. What the fuck is wrong with you? Huh? Oh,
benefit
okay.
from U.S. protection. And I say to him this, we do not need your protection. All we want from you is to keep your hands off us. He also says, we sell you weapons, as if that were a service the United States
We
provides us. The
serve
truth
you.
is
We
that this
sell
is no
you
favor from
weapons.
anyone. We invest in
Yeah.
benefit from U.S.
Get your
protection.
story
And I say to
straight.
him this, we do not need your protection. All we want from you is to keep your hands off us. He also says, we sell you weapons, as if that were a service the United States provides us. The truth is that this is no favor from anyone. We invest in our security and pay billions of dollars for these weapons, and it is a massive trade and industry built on these deals. In fact, the United States itself is now turning to buy weapons from Ukraine to supply its allies in other wars. This is an industry that thrives on wars and arms sales, not a charitable endeavor. And the clearest thing of all is what Senator Graham himself said when he spoke about oil. He stated that Iran and Venezuela together hold 31% of global oil reserves, and that the United States could establish a partnership with this share of the world's oil, and that it would
Thank
be a
you,
nightmare
Pamela,
for China.
for
He even added that
girl
if the regime in
power.
Iran changes, there would be a new Middle East, and that the United States would make a lot of money. Only then does the picture become clearer, and only then do we understand why they want this war. Finally, I say to Senator Graham, you may be a senator in the U.S. Senate, but anyone who hears your statements might think you're a member of the Israeli Knesset, because you defend Israel's interests more than you defend the interest of the American people themselves.
Oh, wow. They are slapping them all up in their face with the truth. You understand? Every time they lie,
Senator in the U.S. Senate,
they are coming back with the truth. In that, how is a foreign country letting the U.S. people know that they are not telling y'all the truth? So here is the truth. Because they going to spin it. I tried to tell y'all before, everything they present is opposite. Y'all going to believe me one day. Everything that they spit out, the reality is it is the exact opposite.
But anyone who hears your statements might think you're a member of the Israeli Knesset, because you defend Israel's interests more than. Then does the picture become clearer, and only then do we understand why they want this war. Finally, I say to Senator Graham, you may be a senator in the U.S. Senate, but anyone who hears your statements might think you're a member of the Israeli Knesset, because you defend Israel's interests more than you defend the interest of the American people themselves. The people of our region have the right to live in security and stability, far from others' wars. We also have the right to decide how to protect our interests and security, and to emerge from crisis we did not create, but which were imposed on us as a result of conflicts between powers vying for influence in this region. We want peace and stability. We will not accept being forced down the path of war, nor will we accept being fuel to other people's battles.
He said we ain't going along with Israel's plan, and we can't back you because y'all not your own people. And what you represent is fraud because you don't represent the United States. Yeah, you are ass eater. You eat out of Bibi Netanyahu's tail, and we know good and dang well you all up in DT diaper, the nasty, funky, gangrene ass diaper. Because all y'all full of shit.
And so while he's saying that, you have Iran saying, look, we will make sure that oil is $200 security and stability, far from others' wars. We also have the right to decide how to protect our interests and security, and to emerge from crisis we did not create, but which were imposed on us as a result of conflicts between powers vying for influence in this region. We want peace and stability. We will not accept being forced down the path of war, nor will we accept being fuel to other people's battles. And so while he's saying that, you have Iran saying, look, we make sure that oil is $200 a barrel if the strikes on its infrastructure don't stop. You have Iran also putting out the message, any Arab or European country that expels the ambassadors of Israel and America from its soil
Making it look
will,
like
starting
a
tomorrow,
straight
have
up
full
fool.
authority and freedom to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And you also have Iran saying that they believe that they have the screws in Donald Trump and that they'll control the global passage now in the Strait of Hormuz. While all that's going on, Donald Trump gave that deranged press conference where he wanted the world to know that most importantly, Trump is helping China and Russia. Trump actually says that. First, you have Yushakov in Russia saying Trump and Putin spoke yesterday. Putin noted that Russia was making big advances in Ukraine, which is not true, and that Donald Trump and Putin discussed what to do with Ukraine, and also Russia's helping Donald Trump now in the Middle East. And Trump said Putin very strongly has been helping Donald Trump. And basically, Putin is serving as an advisor to Donald Trump right now on what to do in Iran. And Trump thinks it's going very well. At the same time, Russia is providing Iran with the military coordinates and
He
information
getting played because
about
he
how
don't
to kill
know.
American
Because he
troops and
don't
how to
know.
destroy American assets. Now, Donald Trump is also using Lyin'Sey to get drone technology and anti-drone technology for this war, which now Eric Trump has announced that he is in business with a startup drone company that will be using Ukrainian drone and anti-drone technology. Shocker. Surprise. I'm being sarcastic. Let me share with you what Donald Trump says here. Trump says, we are really helping China here. This is what he said yesterday at the press conference. China should be grateful. We're helping China. Here's what he says. Let's play it.
About the strait, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the straits. But, hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my
What
honor
he
to
lying
do it.
about?
Yeah.
And here's Donald Trump saying that Putin's been very
What
helpful
he say?
in Iran with the military coordinates and information about how to kill American troops and how to destroy American assets. Now, Donald Trump is also using Lyin'Sey to get drone technology and anti-drone technology for this war, which now Eric Trump has announced that he is in business
Look at him.
with a startup drone company that will be using Ukrainian drone and anti-drone technology. Shocker. Surprise. I'm being sarcastic. Let me just share with you what Donald Trump says here. Trump says,
You
we
right,
are really
Craig.
helping China here.
You
This is what he
right.
said
You're gonna
yesterday at the
lose.
press
He don't not really.
China
He
should be
losing his
grateful. We're
mind
helping
now.
China. Here's what he says. Let's play it.
About the strait, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries.
How you helping China? China showed you after you came in trying to strong arm that they was gonna move around your ass, that they was gonna make deals right in your face. Yeah, they was showing you that you don't want nothing, girl. And that's why they started helping, helping Iran. Yeah, not even behind your back. They didn't give a shit whether you knew it or not. In fact, they act like they wanted you to see. Dum dum. Do wop diddy diddy. Yeah. They don't care nothing about what you saying. They moved on around your ass. Let's go.
I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the straits.
What you mean from the straits? What the hell? They plotting against you. They setting your ass up. They are laying baits. Yeah, they sending a little nuggets. They leaving little nuggets right there for you. Yeah, you are being baited in for the trap. and you don't even realize it. And because you don't have intelligence, you done fired all of the people who had the intelligence and had all the analytical skills for this war. You fired them and put your probably, this is just my opinion, people that you had GROOMED, yeah, that was probably child victims, allegedly, and they don't have no experience, no knowledge, no just seat fillers, cause people really didn't want to fuck with you, didn't want to work with you. Yeah, and that's why y'all losing.
Because they get a lot of their energy
Donna,
from the
stooges.
Straits. But hey, look, we have a good relationship.
So which one do you have? Do you have a good relationship with China? Are you helping them? Are you worried about they are helping? How you gonna say that you have a good relationship with China and they are giving Iran intelligence to blow your shit down? You have a good relationship with China and they done gave Iran intelligence. They even brought those blow up or look-alike warp drones, yeah, and fighter jets so that y'all can target the wrong missiles, making an absolute fool out of you. You up here blowing up, targeting murals that they done painted on the ground. You blowing up murals. They have a whole painting crew out there painting. Let me show you how it is. And you talking about you are hitting targets. No, boo-boo. You are hitting murals. Lookalikes. Let me show you my good tea sippers. Y'all need to hit the like button, baby. Hit the like button. How you out there hitting murals and you think you really doing something? Yeah. And you up here lying to China, and that Chinaman sitting back there laughing at you. I mean, laughing. They be having phone conversations, feet kicked up, laughing their ass off. Look at it. $5 million precise bombs, and all you're hitting. Oh yeah, 3D paintings. You hitting murals. You hear them laughing. They laughing so hard, it's like they snotting, snorting. Three Stooges laughing. Yeah. Laughing. All of that right there, lined up. All of that, where is that? All of them all of this stuff, if it ain't a mural, it is blow up. All of that right there. I want to say blow up dolls, but they are blow up. Fighter jets. They don't use the air pump to blow it up. Nothing but air. Like you blow up the back of, it's saying the phone needs to cool off. I know it's hot. The truth is hot, baby. Yeah, the truth is hot. It's getting hot in
They get
here.
a lot of their energy from the strait.
Yeah, you the stray. You the stray puppy. You don't know what the hell you doing or where you going. Look, yeah. So they done did a bicycle pump to pump up the volume, to pump up them fighter jets so that they can target them. And when they think they hitting targets, all they doing is letting the air out of the blow-up dog. What type of shit is this? These are the targets that the U.S. are hitting. Why they over there laughing at him? Blow-up dog. Ain't nothing moving. Yeah, oh my God, I saw that video. Never put it together. Absolutely. And you say you doing who a favor? Dumbass. And they want to say they winning something. You winning the clown. Yeah, clown of the year. And China, who gave them blow-up dolls? Who gave them blow-up dolls? China. China. So when you control the media, you control the world. Oh shit. Ooh. The West media. What is that? Yeah. So that's how they looking at you. That's why they can write a strong message to you telling you we ain't falling for none of that. You full of shit.
Want to keep it open.
Literally.
I want to keep it good. You know, it doesn't pertain to us so much as it does to China. We're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the Straits. But, hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it, yeah. And
now it's your honor to do it. You realize that they done played you.
Will not fire the first shot, but China will.
China ain't. I'm telling you, dude. They saying you better give it up. And just in case you forgot, just in case y'all forgot, yeah. Just in case you forgot, we ain't going with that bullcrap.
If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated.
Hold on. Let me show you the parade he talking about. Let's be absolutely clear. Yeah, clear. He is not playing with Trump.
The second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, a missile with all the warheads, we call it 61 because it...
61. Not to be mistaken as 69. Get your head out there. Yeah. 61.
not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, a missile with all the warheads, we call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb.
Are we paying attention? 61. Can I get y'all to hit the like button, please? Support the platform. Get my likes up. I'm going to finish my paperwork over here so y'all can get up. My likes ain't moved. The U.S. has been warned he's going to, for real. Yeah, my likes ain't went up. I'm an hour and 26 minutes in. Y'all get the likes up. Let me go put some in my mouth before this Tom come in here asking me what I about eating. They asking him to find a fallout. And if they blow up all the oil refineries, how we gonna get oil? Dang, Miss Tom, you done came up in here. Let me put some in my mouth before I answer so I won't have to lie. Y'all, my lights go up. Miss Tom, you heard your name and you dropped down. You see how you do? What am I eating? Okay, so I got my water with my cloves in it. My alkaline water, and I put some cloves in it. And what time is it? Ooh. And this is what I'm finna eat now. And I put some chia seeds in it. And a little honey and pumpkin seeds. I don't use the seeds that come with it. I'm using pumpkin seeds. Let me double check because it's been in the freezer. Plant-based fiber. That's what it says down here. That's what I'm eating. Y'all get the lights up. I'm thinking, to be honest with you, Miss Tom, I think that, let me get it. The, all of oregano has tremendously cut my appetite down. I mean, I don't even be hungry. I think that has cut my appetite. Now, when I eat, but wanting to eat, I don't be hungry. And I'm just not eating this because I know I need to eat, and I know that if you was gonna pop up in here and ask me what I'm eating, y'all got my lights up. My lights ain't moved. If y'all wondering why I ain't started back, because my lights ain't moved. So I'm gonna tell you now. Pumpkin seeds kills parasites. You're supposed to take them on a handful on an empty stomach in the morning. It's for the parasites. Oh yeah, pumpkin seeds are really the only seeds that they highly recommend. And if you get that detox that I normally take, pumpkin seeds is in there, and oregano is in there. Yeah, you remember that little bottle for the detox for parasites? Pumpkin oil, and I'm waiting for the light only went up one. I'm waiting. Only thing that's in here that I don't have is the walnut, the walnut. Can y'all see that? That black walnut, wormwood, but in the detox, it has pumpkin seeds, oregano, clove, and garlic. You see that? You can't do this? Oh, okay. Yeah. All of our ailments that we have, even in the brains, there are parasites. If you Google are parasites on the brain, that's the way you have to ask it like that, or parrot. But if you ask, is dementia caused by parasites, it's going to say no. But if you ask them, are there parasites on the brain, it will say, and then it'll start telling you about dementia and Alzheimer's.
Because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus 1 hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? The only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility.
Say what now?
1 hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. If you want to have war, you will get war.
Intercept it.
If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September.
In other words, we not going to start it, but we damn sure going to end it. And it ain't going to be nothing you can do to stop it. Now that's, he's saying it the politically correct. I'm saying it in ways that we can understand it. We not going to start it. We that, boy, that sound like my mama. I ain't going to even lie. You can't hit nobody first. But if they put their hands on you, you better tear them off the hinges. You better beat their fucking ass. So we ain't gonna start it. But we damn sure gonna end it. And it ain't gonna be nothing you can do to stop it. Y'all understand it that way? We not gonna start it. We damn sure gonna end it. And it ain't gonna be nothing you can do to stop it.
September the 3rd, one of the weapons.
So that dome, iron dome, don't mean nothing.
With all the warheads, we call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus 1 hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes.
Of the world.
And destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, a missile with all the warheads, we call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus 1 hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. If you want to have war, you will.
Okay. Hey, Melissa. Listen. You need to research the natural supplements for diabetes. If you stop eating processed foods, okay, we have to recondition our minds. We need to go back, and a lot of us never really eating properly, right? But if we go back and get back on our natural supplements, everything that the doctor tells you that you cannot take naturally is because they are not in business for your body to heal. Let me say that again, baby girl. They're not in business for your body to heal. Big Pharma is in business to keep you sick. So about 80%, 85, 90% of what they tell us we cannot take because of something, it's because they are not trying to heal you. Okay? So do your research on diabetes. I'm going to tell you now, we're going to have to cut down on the processed foods. That is designed to keep us sick. That is designed to put poison in our bodies for depopulation. That is designed that if it don't take you out, they're going to get you with the medicines, because every medicine has a side effect. But when you take natural supplements, there are no side effects. It's only a side effect when you're taking natural supplements and you're still taking medicines that Big Pharma want to keep you on. This is just my opinion. Want to keep you on to keep money in their pocket. All of it is based off of the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. Greed. Okay? What did he say? Oh, and magnesium. We all are deficient in magnesium. And it's funny, in the salt, we got to get away from that iodine salt and use sea salt or Himalaya salt or septic salt, natural salt. And people think it's hard to process that. And it was hard for me to process until one of the research that I was listening to reminded me of us that when you are sick and you go to the hospital, the first thing the ambulance medical assistants give you is an IV, and IV is salt. And you stay on IV the whole time that you're in the hospital until your levels are where they need to be, because you are deficient in natural salt. If salt was the problem for diabetics, why do they give you an IV when you go into the hospital? Think about it. Everybody gets IV because they already know that you're deficient in magnesium. Deficient in natural minerals. Stay woke. Thank you, Naturally Narlins. Okay, Auntie Fee, I need something natural for anxiety. That ashwagandha. I think that's how you say that name. But let me put the next one on and I'll research it for you. Hold on. but I think it's Ashaquanda. Ashaconda. Okay, let's go. Let's finish this off. China ain't playing. Come on now, let's start it back up. Get the lights up. Why is not?
With a startup drone company that will be using Ukrainian drone and anti-drone technology. Shocker. Surprise. I'm being sarcastic. Let me just share with you what Donald Trump says here. Trump says, we are really helping China here. This is what he said. Putin very strongly has been helping Donald Trump. And basically, Putin is serving as an advisor to Donald Trump right now on what to do in Iran. And Trump thinks it's going very well. At the same time, Russia.
He is finna for straws. He don't
saying
know who
Trump
to trust.
and Putin spoke. Putin noted that Russia was making big advances in Ukraine, which is not true, and that Donald Trump and Putin discussed what to do with Ukraine, and also Russia's helping Donald Trump now in the Middle East. And Trump said Putin very strongly has been helping Donald Trump, and basically Putin is serving as an advisor to Donald Trump right now on in Iran, and Trump thinks it's going very well. At the same time, Russia is providing Iran with the military coordinates and information about how to kill American troops and how to destroy American assets. Now, Donald Trump is also using Lyin'Sey to get drone technology and anti-drone technology for this war, which now Eric Trump has announced that he is with a startup drone company that will be using Ukrainian drone and anti-drone technology. Shocker. Surprise. I'm being sarcastic. Let me just share with you what Donald Trump says here. Trump says, we are really helping China here. This is what he said yesterday at a press conference. China should be grateful. We're helping China. Here's what he says. Let's play it.
About the strait, you mean? Yeah, well, I want to keep it open. I want to keep it good. So much as it does to China, we're really helping China here and other countries because they get a lot of their energy from the straits. But, hey, look, we have a good relationship with China. It's my honor to do it, yeah.
And here's Donald Trump saying that Putin's been very helpful as well. He's very thankful to Putin. Here, play this clip.
Do you approve of Iran's new supreme leader? And secondly, can you tell us more about your call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today?
Yes.
What did you discuss?
Yes, I had a very good call with President Putin. We had a lot of people on the line from our side, from his side. We were talking about Ukraine, which is just a never-ending fight. And when
Town Guy is the hottest game of the year. It has hundreds.
Ukraine.
look, there's tremendous hatred between President Putin and President Zelensky. They can't seem to get it together. But I think it was a positive call on that subject. And we obviously talked then about the Middle East. And he wants to be helpful. I said, you could be more helpful by getting the Ukraine-Russia war over with. That would be more helpful. But we had a very good talk, and he wants to be very constructive. Yeah.
Notably also yesterday, Donald Trump was attacking Australia. And apparently he's attacking Australia because he says Australia needs to be granting asylum to the Iranian female soccer team or football team, if you will.
They're still more concerned about other people in other countries and don't give a shit about what's going on in the U.S.
Team back to Iran to get them killed. Asylum needs to be granted immediately.
So asylum for them and the U.S. citizens that are stuck over there in those foreign countries, they are not giving any aid on how to get home. What type of sense does that make? They need asylum. But the U.S. citizens that are stuck in Israel, Iran, UAE, Dubai, Qatar, no, nothing. Get home however you can. Get here when you can.
Because he says asylum to the Iranian female soccer team or football team, if you will, if you don't live in the United States. And he said that Australia wants to send the women's soccer team back to Iran to get them killed. Asylum needs to be granted immediately. Asylum needs to be granted immediately. Now, Donald Trump has been not giving asylum to Iranians in the United States. Donald Trump's ICE and Border Patrol and Gestapo have been kidnapping Iranians at a pretty serious pace.
Oh, wow.
And soccer team in Iran to get them killed. Asylum needs to be granted immediately. Asylum needs to be granted immediately. Now, Donald Trump has been not giving asylum to Iranians in the United States. Donald Trump's ICE and Border Patrol and Gestapo have been kidnapping Iranians at a pretty serious pace and actually sending the Iranians from states who are anti the Iranian regime.
Good job, Janet.
Here, and Trump's
with your
actually
regiment.
got, I believe, many of these Iranian migrants who are here in the United States on asylum killed from the Iranian regime. Sends them back, and I think they get killed when they get sent back.
I take
Australia,
Goalie.
has to attack our allies or our former allies.
The only gummies I take was gummies, and when I was out of town, where was? Oh no, yeah. I got that another gummy that I liked. I picked up at TJ Maxx. It was very cheap, but when I tried to go online to order it, it was like, whoa. I'll show it to you, Miss Tom. But I do take, hey, Rich, goalies. Okay, Auntie Fee, I need, okay, let me see what else I missed. Hold on, y'all. Because my likes, they ain't going up, so. Stop eating bioengineered food, read label. Yep, get the U and the K. I have been really trying to pay attention to that and be mindful of that, what is it, natural flavors, because they are saying that those natural flavors are embryos. From Planned Parenthood was created by the Rothschilds. Oh, way to go, Miss Tom, with your weight loss. Yep. They put us on medications to for control. And money. That's why when I had my injury last month, and I was in much pain, but I refused to take a pain pill. I refused anxiety. Boy, that was tough. I used, at first I was just on magnesium. I can't even remember. But I started putting that CBD oil on my injury. And then I got that sleeve for my knee. You know, yeah, I remember my knee looked like, the side of my knee looked like a grapefruit. Yeah, I remember. I refused to take medicine for that. Pain medicine. And I'm still recovering. So get on your natural supplements. Okay, let's go. I eat
and soccer team back to Iran to get them killed. Asylum needs to be granted immediately. Asylum needs to be granted immediately. Now, Donald Trump has been not giving asylum to Iranians in the United States. Donald Trump's ICE and Border Patrol and Gestapo have been kidnapping
the
Iranians
COVID-19 was organized on purpose.
And actually sending the Iranians from the United States.
And stay away from those seed oils. Vegetables, outlet vegetables. What's the other one? canola. They said the seed oils. And I know there's a big difference in on the taste with the fried foods, but yeah, that's poison to our bodies on the cool.
States who are anti the Iranian regime. They're asylum seekers here, and Trump's actually
I don't
got,
take
I
that.
believe,
I
many.
don't take the CBD gummies. I've never in my life well how I used to say it, smoked the natural herbs. Cannabis. I've never smoked cannabis in my life. I used to smoke cigarettes a long time ago. And I stopped, but thank you, Monty. Yeah, I've never smoked cannabis.
Of these Iranian migrants who are here in the United States on asylum.
But I did try a gummy when I had a friend that was she's passed on, rest in peace, Georgette. When I went to go spend time with her before she passed away, she asked me did I want a gummy. Heck, and I didn't know no difference. And she gave me a peach gummy. Baby, we giggled. I giggled for a while. And that was the first time I had a peach gummy, and that was part of her regimen. But yeah, I can't say that. So I have tried it before I knew what it was, and I giggled to myself to sleep.
Killed from the Iranian regime, sends them back, and I think they get killed when they get sent back. But he's attacking Australia because he has to attack our allies or our former allies. So you have Prime Minister Carney again reaching out to
Melissa.
countries in the region to try to do his best to give some level of stability there. Same thing in France, trying to reach out to their allies in the region, while Donald Trump just behaves like a complete and utter maniac right now. So, and Donald Trump wants to remove the sanctions. I think I mentioned that. Remove Russia's oil sanctions so that Russia can get rich right now, as the price of oil is much higher. So there you have it. That's what's going on in the world. But you have no one wanting to join the U.S. in this offensive war right now.
Yeah, it's offensive. Let's get to the next one. Let me see. I done talked all through that one. I hope y'all remember what they said. He been lying to us. And he going to all them people for help. Because he don't know what the hell he doing. Because he done fired all the people who do. Yeah, I would Ashwagandha. ASHWAGANDHA. For stress and anxiety. And I would probably, if I couldn't get some drops to put in my water or put up under my tongue, I would probably go with some tea. Natural herbs and supplements for anxiety and panic attacks include lavender, chamomile, valerian root, ashwagandha, lemon balm, and passion flower. And then it says and CBD. Under what natural herbs. I titled it what natural herbs for stress, anxiety, and panic attacks. Come on.
It's March 10, 2026. We've got some big stories. Here are the latest updates. As many as 150 U.S. troops have been wounded in the war with Iran, according to sources familiar. That's far higher than the Pentagon's publicly disclosed figure of just 8 seriously wounded troops. This is new reporting from Reuters. The true toll of this war is already far worse than the public has been told. Trump posted that if Iran disrupts oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will respond 20 times harder and destroy targets that would make it virtually impossible for Iran to rebuild as a nation. Meanwhile, U.S. intelligence assets have begun to see indications that Iran is taking steps to deploy mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is using smaller crafts that can carry 2 to 3 mines each, per CBS News. The Pentagon burned through $5.6 billion worth of munitions in the first 2 days of its Iran war, according to U.S. officials. According to reporting, Trump's own advisors are urging him to find an exit ramp as economic fallout grows and political backlash mounts. Iranian officials say that they are not seeking a ceasefire and continue launching missiles and drones across the region. A drone strike sparked a fire near a massive oil refinery in the United Arab Emirates, forcing the facility, which processes nearly 900,000 barrels of oil per day, operations. Pakistan's prime minister publicly congratulated Iran's new supreme leader, complicating U.S. efforts to isolate Iran internationally. Large crowds in Tehran are showing support for Iran's new leadership, suggesting that foreign attacks may be strengthening internal unity rather than weakening the regime. Photos of debris from a February strike on a school in Manab, Iran, show markings consistent with the U.S.-made Tomahawk missile. The attack reportedly killed more than 150 children. Despite the evidence, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth accused Iran of targeting schools and hospitals, while the administration has not acknowledged the U.S. missile evidence. Axios reports that Ukrainian President Zelensky briefed Trump last August on Iran's rapidly improving
congratulations on sobriety from drugs and alcohol.
Counter-drone defenses. The proposal was rejected, and those same Iranian drones are now heavily shaping the battlefield in the
to the
current
3
war.
years, Ms.
The U.S.
Tom.
is now begging Ukraine for help. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff revealed that he and Jared Kushner held direct talks with a senior advisor to Vladimir Putin about the war. Trump continues saying that Putin wants to help end the war, even as Russia is reportedly assisting Iran. A watchdog report shows that the Defense Department spent $93 billion in 1 month, including on luxury food items, furniture, ice cream machines, donuts, and even a $98,000 grand piano. And a statue depicting Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, styled like Jack and Rose from the Titanic movie, appeared on the National Mall, and images of the statue are now going viral. We'll keep following all the news, spread the word, and listen to the Midas Touch podcast for more. A new episode is out right now. It's March 10, 2026. We've got some big stories. Here are the latest updates.
I saw that cable. I just wasn't familiar with it. I've never seen that
than the Pentagon's publicly disclosed figure of just 8 seriously wounded troops. This is new reporting from Reuters. The true toll of this war is already far worse than the public has been told. Trump posted that if Iran disrupts oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz,
I've never heard of Kraton
and destroy targets that would make it virtually impossible for Iran to rebuild as a nation. Meanwhile, U.S. intelligence assets have begun to see indications that Iran is taking steps to deploy mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran is using smaller crafts that can carry 2 to 3 mines each, per CBS News. The Pentagon burned through $5.6 billion worth of munitions in the first 2 days of its Iran war, according to U.S. officials. According to reporting, Trump's own advisors are urging him to find an exit ramp as economic fallout grows and political backlash mounts. Iranian officials say that they are not seeking a ceasefire and continue launching missiles and drones across the region. A drone strike sparked a fire near a massive oil refinery in the United Arab Emirates, forcing the facility, which processes nearly 900,000 barrels of oil per day, to halt operations. Pakistan's prime minister publicly congratulated Iran's new supreme leader, complicating U.S. efforts to isolate Iran internationally. Large crowds in Tehran are showing support for Iran's new leadership, suggesting that foreign attacks may be strengthening internal unity rather than weakening the regime. Photos of debris from a February strike on a school in Manab, Iran, show markings consistent with the U.S.-made Tomahawk missile. The attack reportedly killed more than 150 children. Despite the evidence, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth accused Iran of targeting schools and hospitals, while the administration has not acknowledged the U.S. missile evidence. evidence. Axios reports that Ukrainian President Zelensky briefed Trump last August on Iran's rapidly improving Shahed drone technology and offered a partnership to develop counter-drone defenses. The proposal was rejected, and those same Iranian drones are now heavily shaping the battlefield in the current war. The U.S. is now begging Ukraine for help. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff revealed that he and Jared Kushner held direct talks with a senior advisor to Vladimir Putin about the war. Trump continues saying that Putin wants to help end the war, even as Russia is reportedly assisting Iran. A watchdog report shows that the Defense Department spent $93 billion in 1 month, including on luxury food items, furniture, ice cream machines, donuts, and even a $98,000 grand piano. And a statue depicting Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, styled like Jack and Rose from the Titanic movie, appeared on the National Mall and imaged.
But I won the fight. Let's stand my internet down. How my internet down? Hold on, y'all. Let's stand my internet down. Hold on. No connection. Hold on. Hold on. I don't know how it's saying that with other stuff working, but hold on. The devil is a lie. The truth ain't in him. I'm gonna move on around. Get another device and reboot. Hold on now. I said something didn't like. Bear with me. How is it saying my internet is not connected? Ain't no stopping us now. Ain't no stopping us now. Excuse me. So the Canadian police is investigating the shooting at a U.S. consulate in Toronto.
We'll be providing an update on the firearm discharge that occurred early this morning at the United States Consulate General of Toronto. Following their remarks, they will take questions. Deputy?
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I would like to provide an update on the incident that took place this morning. And what that is that at 5:29 a.m. this morning, Toronto police received reports of a discharge of firearms that took place at 361 University, the site of the U.S. Consulate just behind me. Officers arrived on scene and immediately found of a firearm discharge, shell casings, as well as damage to the building. There were people inside the building. However, this building is highly secure, highly fortified, and there were no injuries. There has also been some evidence to suggest that the firearm discharge may have taken place as early as 4:29 in the morning. There is witness evidence to show that a vehicle traveling westbound on Dundas Street, a white Honda CRV, turned southbound at University Avenue and stopped in front.
Ontario will be providing an update on the firearm discharge that occurred early this morning at the United States Consulate General of Toronto. Following the remarks, they will take questions. Deputy?
Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I would like to provide an update on the incident that took place this morning. And what that is that at 5:29 a.m. this morning, Toronto police received reports of a discharge of firearms that took place at 361 University, the site of the U.S. Consulate just behind me. Officers arrived on scene and immediately found evidence of a firearm discharge, shell casings, as well as damage to the building. There were people inside the building. However, this building is highly secure, highly fortified, and there were no injuries. There has also been some evidence to suggest that the firearm discharge may have taken place as early as 4:29 in the morning. There is witness evidence to show that a vehicle traveling westbound on Dundas Street, a white Honda CRV, turned southbound at University Avenue and stopped in front of 361 University, the U.S.
There you
Consulate.
go, Monty.
There, two individuals emerged from the vehicle, discharged at what appears to be a handgun at the front of the building, and then got back into their vehicle and drove southbound. This is very early in the investigation. It is very active, and we are aggressively assigning investigation and resources to determine what happened and to bring the offenders to justice. At the moment, the investigation is being led by our Integrated Gun and Gang Task Force. However, it's important to note that we are in partnership, collaboration, and cooperation with many of our GTA partners as well as our federal partners, and you'll be hearing from Chief Superintendent Leather momentarily. I would like to state that the Toronto Police Service takes incidents like this with extreme seriousness. We appreciate and understand the concern, how unsettling this is, how disturbing it is, and how angry it may make some citizens. And I can assure Torontonians and Canadians that the Toronto Police Service considers this the most serious, the utmost serious type of event, and we are actively pursuing its resolution. I would also like to
Toronto.
Ask that any members of the public who may have some evidence, some dash cam footage, some video footage, anything that might be suspicious activity that could be connected to this, that they please contact the police to assist us with our investigation. Again, I will repeat, the suspect vehicle was a white Honda CRV. There were two males, two individuals that emerged and discharged the firearms. This is early in the investigation, and of course, as it unfolds and we're able to provide more information, we will surely do so. And now I'd like to turn the microphone over to Chief Superintendent Chris Leather.
Thank you, Deputy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Leather. I'm the RCMP Chief Superintendent for Criminal Operations here in Ontario. I'm going to make some formal remarks here, and then I look forward to questions that the media may have afterwards. Our community has experienced a deeply concerning incident, and I want to begin by acknowledging the worry and uncertainty many people are feeling today. Our thoughts are with everyone affected, as well as those who may be feeling unsettled by what has occurred. At this stage, I can confirm that the RCMP is working closely with the Toronto Police Service and our international partners who will assist us in a fulsome investigation into the shooting that took place overnight, early this morning, at the American Consulate behind us. The RCMP's Integrated National Security Enforcement Team, INSET, GTA, has permanent positions for members of the Toronto Police Service, which further increase our capacity to conduct these investigations in real time with established and strong relationships, intelligence sharing, and tactics. At this time, the INSET team has been engaged, as this is a national security incident, and we are working with Toronto Police and others to understand the motivations of those involved. The RCMP regularly works in close collaboration with police services of jurisdictions across the country, as well as our partners with Global Affairs Canada, and the fulfillment of our mandate to provide protection of designated persons, including foreign diplomats, and in relation to incidents that occur at or in the vicinity of embassies or consulates. For the moment, while the early stages of the investigation are taking place, we have increased security around embassies and consulate buildings here in Toronto and in the Ottawa region. There will be no tolerance for any form of intimidation, harassment, or harmful targeting of any communities or individuals in Canada. We want to assure that everyone's safety and security is at the forefront of everything that we do. The RCMP takes threats to security of individuals living in Canada very seriously and wants to reassure everyone that there is no indication of an immediate threat to public safety at this time. Thank you.
And we'll take questions now if you guys have some questions.
We talk about working to figure out information. We've already heard officials, including the mayor of Toronto, seemingly link this to the heightened tensions in the Middle East. What's your response to that, and is that a fair argument?
It's too early for us to determine where the links lay or may not with those that are responsible for the shooting. That is obviously part of the active investigation, and we're just simply not in a position to comment on it.
How does that elevate?
Stages of the investigation are taking place. We have increased security around embassies and consulate buildings here in Toronto and in the Ottawa region. There will be no tolerance for any form of intimidation, harassment, or harmful targeting of any communities or individuals in Canada. We want to assure that everyone's safety and security is at the forefront of everything that we do. The RCMP takes threats to security of individuals living in Canada very seriously and wants to reassure everyone that there is no indication of an immediate threat to public safety at this time. Thank you.
And we'll take questions now if you guys have some questions.
We talk about working to figure out information. We've already heard officials, including the mayor of Toronto, seemingly link this to the heightened tensions in the Middle East. What's your response to that, and is that a fair argument?
It's too early for us to determine where the links lay or may not with those that are responsible for the shooting. That is obviously part of the active investigation, and we're just simply not in a position to comment on that any further.
This is a federal investigation. Could you speak to how that changes the charges, the penalties? Like, how does that elevate seriousness?
Section 83, which is a portion of the Criminal Code of Canada that deals with terrorism offences, if it's indeed determined to be that, is the mandate under which we operate as the National Police Service pursuant to our integrated national security enforcement teams. But to be clear, these are integrated units that undertake these investigations. So while it may be RCMP-led, it also has the Ontario Provincial Police. Toronto obviously will have a key role in this investigation, and the other large police services in the GTA in particular will be working with us diligently on this investigation, which is now, of course, a high priority matter for us to take on.
Never ever sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident. There's a better way to get compensated that's faster, easier,
absolutely,
for us to take on.
This does come after three shootings at synagogues in the city in recent days. Is there anything to suggest that the incidents are connected? You have recovered shell casings from both scenes, right? From some of the synagogue shootings at here. Will you be looking at whether they're...
We definitely will be... Sorry. We definitely will be looking at any possible connections. Obviously, it is far too early in this investigation, but we do not look at them in isolation. We look at them collectively, and if and how there is something that is found in that to support that, then that will obviously color and direct how the investigation unfolds. But it is not lost on us that the city has unfortunately experienced similar types of events, extremely serious and very concerning shootings at synagogues, and this very much factors into how we will approach this matter as well.
Sir, you mentioned that there's evidence to suggest the shooting may have happened. What time do you believe the shooting actually happened at?
We believe the shooting happened at 4:30, 4:29 in fact.
And then someone called in at 5:30?
Exactly. Or actually, an officer was flagged down. So there was a gap. This is why when we share the time of the event, we would like people to be aware that that would be the time. If you were in this area, if you have dash cam footage, for instance, it would have been around 4:30 or so that we believe the incident to have taken place. Again, I'll state that it's early, so investigators are still piecing things together. But this is an early understanding of when we think the timeline may have been.
And proceed claim now, please,
I don't have that information to share at the moment.
Did both individuals that got out of the vehicle, they both had firearms and both shot at the building? Is that your understanding?
It's unfortunately because the investigation is still very active and early. I can't share that. I can tell you that there was a handgun that was discharged and that both individuals were involved in that discharge.
And did bullets actually go through the front door? Can you maybe elaborate a bit on the damage?
I haven't had a look myself or spoken specifically with anyone about the damage, but I can tell you, as most people would know, this is a heavily fortified building, very secure. The glass and the walls are reinforced, and so I don't believe that there was any penetration, if you will, of projectiles into the building. In fact, it's quite possible that people in the building would not have even noticed. That's how strong this building is behind me. So,
oh yeah,
again,
it's a deflection.
If we're able to share more updates, we will do so.
The people in the building didn't even feel it.
I can tell you that there were multiple shots fired. I don't have an exact number to share with you at the moment. More than one.
What's the collaboration right now with the U.S. government? Where does that stand?
There's obviously formal communication going on with our U.S. counterparts, the FBI, the consulate itself here. We've had members at the consulate here this morning, along with Toronto Police, meeting with staff here and their senior executive to discuss the incident. Rest assured, those conversations are also occurring in Ottawa between officials there and their U.S. counterparts at the embassy.
Senator Ford was just speaking, and he mentioned something about these sleeper cells are operating in Canada right now. Is there anything you can share about any intelligence about incidents like this one or others that we're seeing outside the country?
I don't have any information to provide at this time on any sleeper cells that may or may not exist in Canada.
Sleeper cells.
Suffice to say that our CSIS counterparts and the INSETs across the country are actively investigating matters such as this, and we will continue to do so. I think it's important that the public realizes that we've had a number of meetings and discussions already this morning with our federal counterparts, and that does include CSIS both here in Toronto Region and at national headquarters, and they are tracking this incident very closely as well.
When you mentioned stuff about the security of consulates, do you just mean American consulates in Canada or other countries' consulates and embassies as well?
Other consulates as well, including the Israeli consulate, will be seeing a change in the security
Israeli.
posture here in Toronto, as well as Ottawa.
Any other countries?
Not that I'm prepared to speak to at this time. We'll be assessing that on an ongoing basis. But for now, the U.S. consulate and the Israeli consulate will see a change.
So why did you choose those two consulates specifically?
Yeah, why
I
those
think it's fairly obvious based on the incidents that have occurred here in Toronto and elsewhere that these consulates deserve a heightened amount of vigilance and security at this time, in the hopes that we can bring the temperature to Toronto Region and at national headquarters, and they are tracking this incident very closely as well.
When you mentioned stuff about the security of consulates, do you just mean American consulates in Canada or other countries' consulates and embassies as well?
Other consulates as well, including the Israeli consulate, will be seeing a change in the security posture here in Toronto, as well as Ottawa.
Any other countries?
Not that I'm prepared to speak to at this time. We'll be assessing that on an ongoing basis. But for now, the U.S. consulate and the Israeli consulate will see a change.
So why did you choose those two consulates specifically?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious based on the incidents that have occurred here in Toronto and elsewhere that these consulates deserve a heightened amount of vigilance and security at this time, in the hopes that we can bring the temperature down in the coming days and weeks.
Has something like this ever happened before with the U.S. consulate?
Not in my memory. I can't recall us either investigating or becoming aware of a shooting here, Deputy.
I cannot recall a shooting. I do recall many, many years ago a firebomb incident. We're going back a ways. I mean, it won't be lost on anyone that the U.S. Consulate is the site of many protests and demonstrations, as well as because of geopolitical events. The Israeli Consulate has seen a lot of gatherings, people assembling, expressing themselves. So that this would be a scene where something like this would be where the manifestation of frustration with geopolitical events would happen is not lost on us, but that might in part explain why this building is as secure and as fortified as it is. I believe there were people inside at the time. I can't confirm that. However, as I was mentioning earlier, the building is so fortified, it's quite possible that people inside would not have noticed that there were shots. Pardon me, that there were shots directed at the front of the building. So I'm afraid I'm not able to share that with you. I can say that it was multiple shots and there were multiple casings.
Last question, please. So what's entailed in determining if this is terrorism related? You mentioned that was a possibility.
Well, it's definitely a national security incident because we had the U.S. consulate, after all, struck by gunfire. Whether it's a terrorist event or not, that'll be subject to the investigation that will be undertaken in the coming days and weeks. And that'll be based on the evidence that's collected both here at the scene and subsequently through the work with our partners.
Can you just give us an update quickly on traffic? How long is southbound getting closed?
So they think it was
I'm
terrorists.
not able to tell you exactly. I mean, I could follow up with
Terrorist
you if you
attack.
like. I'd speak to the people here that are protecting the scene.
Based off of the
rest
war.
assured that as soon as we're able to open up traffic, we will. We realize that this is obviously an
So
activity
was
for
it a
people, but the
sleeper
investigation
cell?
is of a very high priority, and we are making sure that we are not leaving anything to chance and looking at every little detail.
I'd like to thank everyone for attending today. Just a reminder, if you were in the area early this morning around 4:29, if you're driving and you have dash cam footage, or you're a pedestrian and you have some video surveillance, potentially maybe on a cell phone, to please contact police. No matter how small anything could be to you, evidence-wise, it could be really big for us as a police agency to help us solve this case. So we are requesting anyone with information to please come forward. We will be providing...
Yeah, even if it was an earthquake in New York, I think that it was manipulated. It was manipulated. All of it is a deflection. It's just not going good for this administration. And as far as I'm concerned, they are trying everything they can to deflect. They losing the war. The Epstein files, losing cases in court. It's just a multitude of things that is going on right now. Believe that. Believe that. They're not winning. They are manipulating. They are lying. They know that if they don't win the midterms, they going up on a multitude of charges, from the Epstein files to treason, to organized crime. Hell, it is a elite RICO. They are building a elite RICO political case right now. Okay. Okay. Let's go.
They're going to lose and we're going to win. Israel and the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks meaning what?
Girl,
we're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to
on
fall.
Your knees. Who gonna be on their knees? Is that your position? Is that your position of choice? What is the procedure when you are losing? Huh? What is the position of choice? Lizzie Graham. Lyin'Sey Graham. What is the position? Not what is the procedure. What is your position? On your knees. Oh, okay. Okay. I believe you there.
This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall.
Please.
And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time.
Child, please.
We're going to blow the hell out of these people.
On your knees.
Senator Lyin'Sey Graham says of the Iranians.
Down on
which,
my knees.
Doesn't really sound like
you,
liberation
please.
to me, Jake.
Yeah, so first we started with, oh, we're doing it to help the
He like that sweet pickle too. Oh, hell yeah. He's
Lyin'sey
a
might not mean
pickle
kill them.
pleaser.
Lyin'sey Graham saying we're going to blow the
He's
hell
a
out
pickle
of them.
pleaser.
And he talked about how people being on their knees. I don't know. I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
The people
Look.
are asking.
He does.
Maybe he does want to help the Iranian people.
He do.
So I know
On
he's
his knees.
helped the Israelis plenty by doing that.
Don't threaten him with a good time.
All right.
All right.
You hear?
Now, in that same
They already
video,
know.
Senator
They
Graham
already know,
also
Monty.
admitted that he
Don't
worked
threaten
with
him with a
Israel
good
to-
time.
Lyin'sey Graham saying we're going to blow the hell out of
my
them.
God.
We're
Blow.
going to blow the hell out of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Although to be
He
fair,
caught the blow. I caught the on his knees, begging them, please. Please help me. Ooh, please. I got a deal for you. I got a reward for you. I've been told that I am real good at negotiating on my knees. I will blow you away with the deal I have for you. I've been told by quite a few guys that my blow your mind deals on my knees for you. It is tremendously worth your while. As Trump say, it's the best ever. Let me please you on my knees. Let me make you happy on my knees. The deal of the century is gonna blow. I mean, really blow your mind. It's gonna make your toes curl. I'm a licking, sucking, lick, sucking, licking, suck. Ow, the juice up out that pickle. Oh my goodness. Let me go. Let me get ready. Go.
Lyin'sey might not mean kill them.
No.
Lyin'sey Graham saying we're going to blow the hell out
Oh
of
my
them.
God, Jake.
And he talked about how people being on their knees. I don't know. The people are asking.
He does.
Maybe he does want to help the Iranian people. So I know he's helped the Israelis plenty by doing that.
Don't threaten him with a good time.
All right.
Okay, all right. Now, in that same interview, Senator Graham also admitted that he worked with Israel to rope Donald Trump into this disastrous war, which is already hurting the economy and is deeply unpopular with the American people. Now, many
Hold on.
are so horrified.
Man,
It
I'm
is very
sorry.
seriously easy to do, and an absolute
I didn't
expert
realize that
is
the
going to be in
volume
touch with you.
was.
I would recommend anybody to this company.
I am so sorry.
This guy is a homicidal maniac. Senator Lindsey Graham says of the Iranians,
I don't even know.
which doesn't really sound like liberation to me, Cenk.
Yeah, so first we started with, oh, we're doing it to help the Iranian people. Now we're going to blow the hell out of them. Although, to be fair, Lindsey might not.
As of the Iranians, which doesn't really sound like liberation to me, Cenk.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
As of the Iranians, which we're going to blow the hell out of these people, Senator Lindsey Graham says of the Iranians, which doesn't really sound like liberation to me, Cenk.
Yeah, so first we started with, oh, we're doing it to help the Iranian people. Now we're going to blow the hell out of them. Although, to be fair, Lindsey might not mean kill them. Lindsey Graham saying, we're going to blow the hell out of them.
Oh my God, Cenk.
And he talked about how people being on their knees. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. The
They
people
on
are
their
asking.
knees for that
Maybe
time,
he
but-
does want to help the Iranian people. So I know he's helped the Israelis plenty by doing that.
Don't threaten him with a good time.
All right.
Okay, all right. Now, in that same interview, Senator Graham also admitted that he worked with Israel to rope Donald Trump into this disastrous war, which is already hurting the economy and is deeply unpopular with the American people. Now, Meghan McCain was so horrified by that clip of Lindsey Graham that she wrote this on social media. I've known Lindsey Graham since I was a child. I am imploring anyone who will listen in the Trump administration to stop sending this man out as a surrogate. He is scaring people and doing damage to whatever message you're trying to sell to the American public about the Iran war. Now, Megyn Kelly was equally disturbed. Take a look. This guy is a homicidal maniac with a bloodlust that is insatiable, but this guy should be nowhere near President Trump. He should not be allowed within 20 feet of the president's orbit, and the president should make the decision to keep this guy the hell away from him, or at least in his own mind shut down his influence. This is not a force for good in the United States of America, Lindsey Graham. I actually disagree. I think Lindsey Graham does something that we don't get enough of from other elected politicians and lawmakers. He tells the truth. I mean, he tells the truth when it comes to how, bloodthirsty he is. He tells the truth when it comes to how this war against Iran had nothing to do with liberating the Iranian people. And in his statements, he makes it clear to me that there's something about Lindsey Graham. He seems to be compromised by the Israelis because no one is this bloodthirsty and this ridiculous on a regular basis in public. But, you watch Lindsey Graham, he's ridiculous on a regular basis in public. Now, the senator made other revealing comments, Cenk, to the Wall Street Journal last week in a piece titled Lindsey Graham's Quest to Sell Trump on Striking Iran. Here are a few excerpts worth knowing about. Graham liked to play a little word association game with the president. Quote, I say Franklin Roosevelt, what do you say? The Republican senator from South Carolina asked. The correct answer? You have nothing to fear but fear itself. As he ticked through memorable presidential phrases, Graham asked Trump what his phrase would be. Trump said he didn't know. Graham recalled, keep protesting. Help is on the way, Graham suggested, referring to Trump's social media post in January urging Iranians to confront their government, which got a lot of people killed, I hear. Graham reminded Trump about ripping up Obama's Iran nuclear deal. This was Trump's moment to make history, Graham argued to the president. What's devastating about this, Cenk, is something that we've known for a long time, but most Americans are waking up to, which is the fact that Donald Trump, because of his ego, and because of the fact that he likes to have his ego stroked, is easy to manipulate. And Lindsey Graham is manipulating him successfally.
Ding, ding, ding. So I have an excellent example of how they manipulate Donald Trump in a second. But first, Megyn Kelly and everybody is totally right about Lindsey Graham. Also right about Ted Cruz. Like that, they don't help the Republican cause at all. Every time they're on the screen.
And remember, before he started this war, he made a trip to Texas.
For every minute they're on the screen, right? So, and then in terms of Israel first, please keep putting Mark Levin, Rabbi Shmuley, and Laura Loomer out there. Okay, because it just makes Israel more and more unpopular. You're doing us a great service by having those be your main representatives in America. Keep going. All right, now, in terms of how we got pushed into this war in the first place, which is the essence of this story, unfortunately, it's so easy to manipulate Donald Trump. So first of all, with all of our politicians, we don't know to what degree it's just the money, and it's definitely the money, right? Top donor to Trump is the Israeli lobby, over $300 million. Lyin'Sey Graham, millions of dollars from AIPAC and the Israeli lobby. Or if it's blackmail, I don't really know or care. I just care that they serve us and not a foreign government. And now looking back on it, you say, oh, well, Lyin'Sey Graham was always a neocon, right? But wait a minute, has Lyin'Sey Graham ever said we should invade North Korea, which actually did develop nukes and is far more dangerous?
He might have.
No, before they developed nukes? Not that I know of. He's never been on TV going, oh my God, we're going to attack North Korea. Every single time he's been on TV, it's attack Israel's neighbors, attack. Develop nukes and is far more dangerous.
He might have.
Before they developed nukes. Not that I know of. He's never been on TV going, oh my God, we're going to attack North Korea.
Oh my God.
Every single time he's been on TV, it's attack Israel's neighbors, attack Israel's neighbors. Oh, okay. Iraq war, Iran war.
Wow.
Same script. Same weapons of mass destruction. That's fake. They say,
That's
we're
fake.
here to help the Iranian and Iraqi people. Let's bomb the hell out of them, right? Yeah, you liar. You disgusting pig. All right, now let's talk about the beginning of the war. So New York Times actually, again, I love giving credit where credit is due, and they had a really interesting piece about how this war got started. And I learned a couple of things from it, okay? So number one, did Israel push America into war like Marco Rubio said, hey, we're going to attack, if we, etc.? Yes. New York Times also confirms from White House officials, Israel said, we're going to attack and you'll be caught off guard and then you'll lose more American soldiers, so you better do as we're telling you.
Disgusting.
Okay.
Disgusting, deplorable government.
Yeah, now if we had strong leadership, ones that were not compromised, that's
Y'all
when you
hear
would
them?
grab the Israeli official by the ear and you would walk him out of the White House.
Compromise.
Get a couple more missiles ready, defensive missiles. Okay, so that's who the Israelis are. But the main trick was Iranian protesters that were, Israel said, oh, no, we might lose one or two extra people because our defenses aren't perfectly ready. So let the Iranian protesters that we're using as a gimmick and a talking point, let them all die. Wait, don't go yet. We want to get a couple more missiles ready, defensive missiles. Okay, so that's who the Israelis are. But the main trick was to set impossible standards. They said, now, Donald, you're such a big, strong guy. You don't want to be a spectator to history. That was a quote that they often used.
Here go that stroking.
Right?
Here go that stroking. See, this is what a Lyin'Sey Graham told Israel. This is how you stroke his ego. Let's go.
I want to be a spectator to history. That was a quote that they often used. So that's who the Israelis are. But the main trick was to set impossible standards. They said, now, Donald, you're such a big, strong guy. You don't want to be a spectator to history.
Ooh,
that was a quote
Donald,
that they often
how
used,
big
right?
and strong
and so
you
what
are.
You want to do is,
with or without your diaper.
You can get them to get rid of all their uranium, including their stockpiles, and go down to zero enrichment. Iran has said from day one, we will never do that. You will get them to turn over all their ballistic missiles. Iran has said, no, we're not going to turn over all of our missiles. And you can get them to do a regime change and take themselves out and lose power and just put your guy in. Now, if our president wasn't a moron, he'd say, guys, those things are impossible. It looks like you're leading me into a trap where I'll be stuck. I said that we can get all these things done, but we can't get them done. So now I'm in a forever war, just like you guys wanted. Oh, but Trump, not bright enough to figure that out. So they go.
Y'all hit the like button. Please come in tapping the 3 dots at the top right. I shouldn't have to keep asking y'all to do what y'all already know y'all need to do. Double tap the face of your screen. I hit the 3 dots at the top right corner. I'll wait. Oh my God. I really shouldn't have to go
Goaded
through
them and
this.
goaded them. And by the way, what's really interesting,
2
guys,
hours and 46
it's not
minutes
just the
in.
Israelis.
It's crazy.
The main people goading him are the Israelis plus his own advisors, who are almost all bought off by Israel. So they're whispering in his ear, yeah, Israel's right. You're so big and tough and strong, Donald. You could do all of this. They'll bend a knee to you. They'll do unilateral surrender. Go in, Donald. Go in. And finally, J.D. Vance, the guy who's supposed to be the most reluctant for war, apparently they were considering either limited strikes to try to scare Iran one more time or go full invasion. And J.D. Vance convinced Trump to go full invasion.
I knew it.
Okay, he said go big and go fast and send in
Hit the like button or go home.
No, J.D. Vance was not anti-war. It turned out at a critical moment, he was the most pro-war. Remember, he's created in a petri dish by Peter Thiel.
Yep.
Peter Thiel is one of the founders of Palantir, deeply connected to Israel and the surveillance and police state that we saw in Gaza and are now seeing at home.
Deeply connected to profiting off of war. Okay,
Bingo.
The guy who created J.D. Vance and funded him in a petri dish is the guy who profits off of war. Anyone who tries to lie to you about what J.D. Vance's actual agenda is, make sure you follow the money. You don't even have to trust us. Just follow the money.
Do what?
Because money talks in this country.
Money talks and bull crap walks, and money, stealing money from the U.S. citizen is the way this administration
Deeply connected to profiting off of war. Okay,
Bingo.
The guy who created J.D. Vance and funded him in a petri dish is the guy who profits off of war. Anyone who tries to lie to you about what J.D. Vance's actual agenda is, make sure you follow the money. You don't even have to trust us. Just follow the money. Because money talks in this country, believe me.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.
The Mediterranean diet is the world's healthiest for a reason. I've been hearing the hype about the Mediterranean lifestyle for years, but was always intimidated by it. It seemed like a ton of
go out there and say, I did a better deal than Obama, right? Spike the
Oh,
football. He had
Lord.
the opportunity to do that. But
He can't do nothing
by
better
the way,
than Obama.
you have Iranian leaders like Foreign Minister Araghchi also posting the following. He says this, U.S. officials are posting fake news to manipulate markets. It won't predict the ball.
Hold on.
This has been on Breaking News. I'm Ben Meiselas, and this is your Breaking News. Donald Trump's unlawful war against Iran spiraling out of control. This just coming out over the wire. Now we know that as many as 150 U.S. troops have been wounded in the war with Iran, according to sources familiar with the matter, far higher than the Pentagon's publicly disclosed figure of just 8 seriously wounded troops. The true toll of this war is already far worse than the public has been told. This has been a major cover-up by the Trump regime. And now
A major
our
cover-up.
military and Caroline Levitt is also confirming that these numbers are, quote, within the ballpark. I'll show you some clips of Caroline Levitt's disastrous press conference in just a moment. We're also learning that Iran has been laying naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most important energy choke point that carries about 1/5 of all crude oil, according to 2 people familiar with U.S. intelligence who spoke to CNN. Only a few dozen having been laid in recent days, the sources said, but Iran has the capability to deploy hundreds, if not thousands more, retaining upward of 80% to 90% of its small boats and mine layers operated by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. We're also getting data from the United Arab Emirates today about how these Iranian drones are striking far more frequently UAE targets. If you evaluate the ability for these drones to strike, you're seeing somewhere in the range of 20 to 25% increases in strike rates right now. A big oil refinery in the United Arab Emirates was just hit. In fact, the biggest oil refinery in the UAE halted operations after a drone strike caused a fire in the industrial area in which it's located, according to people familiar with the matter. The Abu Dhabi National Oil Co. was assessing damage at the plant, the people said,
asking not to be named because the matter is not yet public. This specific refinery can process 922,000 barrels of oil. And then if you take a
So
look
they
at
messing
some
up
of
all.
the hit versus intercept rate for ballistic missiles and drone attacks since February 28th for the UAE through today, a lot more of these drones are getting through by significant percentages. And so what that tells us is that the UAE is likely running low on some of these expensive interceptors, right? There's the THAAD system, and then there's also the Patriot missile system. Both are incredibly expensive, and it can cost tens of millions of dollars to strike down a single Shahed drone, which only costs about $20,000 to make. And so instead of the U.S. studying what was going on in Ukraine and how the war was being fought there, whether it was the Iranian Shahed drones being given to Russia, the joint production of ballistic missiles, but keeping the costs low in their attack on Ukraine, Ukraine's ability to stop a lot of these drones, but not all of them. We've always been covering those deadly attacks in Kyiv and Kharkiv and Odessa and all of the areas there, and also Ukraine's ability to use drones against Russia as well. That should have been studied. And let me be very clear, our military preparedness is systemic. I don't want to even act like this is purely a Trump issue, although this is Trump's fault right now. But I think in general, our military, even under the Biden administration, this is bipartisan, I think was slow to adopt and be able to address what the modern warfare was actually looking like, because our military industrial complex was all about buying expensive weapons, these billion-dollar systems, when in fact things were getting very, very cheap in order to mass produce these drones. The situation is that it wasn't Biden who got into this war, right? And so if you're going to hastily get into a war the way Trump did, because
don't blame other people.
Strike Iran first, as Rubio and everyone in the Trump regime said. The Trump regime's making up lots of other excuses. If you're going to get into that war, and you know you have these vulnerabilities that
they want to cut off the oil and get it from where?
Big problem. You know, Biden in helping.
Where they gonna get it from?
Was able to contain
if they burn it all up.
Whereas I do place some fault there, as I would any administration. I would go back 20 years. I would go to Obama. I'd go to George W. Bush. There was a lack of foresight into the way modern weapons and modern war would look. Regardless, though, you don't rush into war. Biden was very smart. Biden helped Ukraine. Ukraine was on the front lines, basically, and they still are, fighting these proxy battles, if you will, and fighting Russia, which is critical, which invaded Ukraine. But also, Iran is part of that access with Russia. Iran, Russia, and
China.
But
Iran won't give in.
That they're
Trump and them cut off did that. They shouldn't have went to war.
Russia is out
they should have accepted the deal that they were trying to offer.
Intel to Iran about where to strike. By the way,
instead of getting mad with the deal that they refused and just setting it afire.
Saying that we stand
if you won't take our deal, we'll burn it all up. And then get it from where?
Publicizing those statements about what they're doing. It's not actually like a secret that intelligence is being used to strike the United States. But Biden had a sophisticated plan. And if he was able to build up the anti-drone capabilities, it's probably where it was heading. Now, Donald Trump in 2025, here's the thing. By 2025, Lyin'Sey had figured out, with the help of the Americans, but with Ukrainian ingenuity, this happened in 2025, I want to be clear of the dates, how you address these drone strikes. It's not foolproof. A lot of drones still strike Ukraine. But in 2025, over the summer, Lyin'Sey goes to Donald Trump and says, hey, let us help you. Let us show you what's happening. Why did this happen in the summer? Because that was the first war that Donald Trump got into against Iran. And when you started to see, okay, is Iran going to use the same Shaheds that are being used in Russia and being used in Ukraine, Zelensky's like, let us help you. Here, pull that graphic back up right there. And if you take a look at this graphic, you can see that Zelensky, according to Axios, in August of last year, Ukraine's President Zelensky showed Donald Trump a presentation detailing the effectiveness of Ukraine.
Y'all, hold on. Get my likes up. Now, this is my last time asking y'all to get the likes up.
And offered it to the U.S. in the event of war in the Middle East, warning that the Iranians were improving the effectiveness of their drones. U.S. officials did not entertain an offer at that time, and that was a critical moment because that's when Zelensky truly, knew how to counter it, how the threat had increased. And yes, there were drones that were being used in 2024, when Biden was in office, but they really accelerated it in 2025. It was taken to a whole new level, escalation of this drone warfare, and Trump didn't want to hear it. Instead, what was Donald Trump doing in August of 2025? Do you remember what Trump was doing? He was meeting with Putin. Remember? That's when the Alaska meeting took place. Trump rolls out the red carpet for Putin. He makes our soldiers
I'm definitely not digging the support on my platform.
Shoes. Remember? I mean, there's actually like a photo of our troops on their knees looking at like Putin's feet as Donald Trump then kind of waddles in the red carpet and he couldn't walk in a straight line. He praised Putin, how big this was going to be, this incredible summit. And when Putin totally played him, well, behind the scenes, Zelensky was trying to help out, but the United States refused to even listen to Zelensky. And so right now, is the United States listening to Zelensky? Sort of. But you have Eric Trump is now a major part of this drone company. And this drone company in the U.S. wants the Ukrainian anti-drone and drone technology. So it is a Trump-related business deal is essentially what's taking place right now. And so you have the Middle East on fire. You have, to show you what Iranian's foreign minister is saying publicly, just they're trolling Donald Trump on social media. The Iranians are trolling Trump. So you have the foreign minister, Araghchi, says the claim that Iran was planning on attacking the U.S. or U.S. forces, whether preventively or preemptively, is a sheer and utter lie. The sole purpose of that lie is to justify Operation Epic Mistake, a misadventure engineered by Israel and paid for by ordinary Americans. Then their National Security Council advisor, Ali Larijani, responds to one of Donald Trump's social media posts. And Donald Trump's social media post says the following. This was from late last night when Trump rants and raves like a lunatic. If Iran does anything that stops the flow of oil within the Strait of Hormuz, they will be hit by the United States of America 20 times harder than they have been hit thus far. Additionally, we will take out easily destroyable targets that will make it virtually impossible for Iran to ever be built back as a nation again. Death, fire, and fury will rain upon them. But I hope and pray that it does not happen. This is a gift from the United States of America to China and all those nations that heavily use the Hormuz Strait. Hopefully it is a gesture that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. And then our energy secretary posted on social media a lie that the United States Navy was helping ships go through the Strait of Hormuz. And then the energy secretary had to remove it because it was just entirely false. U.S. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright claimed this morning in a now deleted post that the United States Navy had successfully escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz, with the post being removed only minutes later, and officials denying to Fox News that the Navy had carried out any such operation through the Strait near Iran. So what else is happening is that the Trump regime is manipulating our markets right now. And so they saw on Monday that the markets were going to tank to like a Great Depression level. Now, systemically, our economy is just being destroyed by Donald Trump. I can't even imagine what the next inflation reports are going to show, what the job losses will show. Just think of the jobs report last month, and what a utter disaster that was. What, 92,000 jobs that were lost. Inflation was surging before all of this. Now you raise the price of gas, inflation's going to be crushing. But the markets were absolutely crashing, and the price of oil per barrel was soaring. So what the Trump regime keeps on doing now, they keep trying to come out with good news. Remember, like with Trump's Liberation Day, which was Liquidation Day, you'd have the markets crash, and then he would say something, and then they would go up, then it would crash, then it would go up. They're doing that over and over again right now. So they're just making things up, just like complete and utter lies. And it's, it is deeply, deeply tragic that this regime in the United States just can't be trusted at all with anything. And I've said it before on some of my other programs. It's like comic book stupid propaganda. I think all propaganda is bad usually, but this version of the propaganda is like just the dumbest. It's like stupid and dumb, and it's like, what are you talking about? Like, at least in some other regimes fully fueled by propaganda, it's like, I don't know, a little bit smart, and there's like a plan, and the messaging is at least repeated over and by the same people. But like the Trump regime just makes up different things. Why'd you go to war? Well, Israel told us to do it. Actually, Israel didn't tell us to do that. We didn't say it. We literally just said that. So why else did you do it? They were going to strike us with nuclear missiles in 5 days. Really? Where'd you get that from? We learned that. Who told you that? Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff told us that. That's the new one. The new one is that Kushner and Witkoff told Trump that we were days away from nuclear annihilation by Iran. They moved to that one. Well, what are we in war for? Regime change. So we're there for regime change? No, we're not there for regime change. Well, what are we there for? To get rid of their ballistic missiles. Okay, so we're there to get rid of their ballistic missiles? No. Okay, well, what are we there for? We just want to bring someone in from the Islamic Republic who likes Donald Trump. Okay, so what's going to happen with the people in Iran who want democracy? We don't like them. They're maniacs. They're lunatics. All Iranians are lunatics. I don't do that. That's what Donald Trump was saying during the press conference yesterday. It was like they're very menacing people. They're crazy. All Iranians. Not like the regime. Trump was referring to the Iranian people generally as menacing people. And then the Trump regime's like, the Iranian people out there have turned against the Islamic Republic, and they want Trump. They want Netanyahu. It's like, no, they don't. Do you see what's happening in Tehran Square right now? Do you see what's happening in cities and towns across Iran? Even if you believed that you may have had support in Iran, which you may have had a little bit of support in Iran. I mean, you blew that during the protests in January, where you told the protesters you were going to help them. And then you ended up allowing them to be completely massacred by the Iranian
President,
regime.
you promised.
When you said go out there and protest, and then you said, I got your back. If a single Iranian gets killed, you said, I got your back. And you didn't have their back. And now, even some people who were against the Ayatollah, who may have been sympathetic, when you bomb with a Tomahawk missile a little girl's elementary school, and then kill 150 little girls, 185 people in total, and then you go and lie and say the Iranians used the Tomahawk to do it, when Iran doesn't have Tomahawks, nor do they have the Tomahawk launchers. Y'all remember Ukraine wanted Tomahawks? Remember that? And the United States wouldn't give it to Ukraine. We don't give Tomahawks to a lot of people. Trump didn't give it to Ukraine because Trump despises Lyin'Sey and loves Vladimir Putin, but there's only like 4 nations that have Tomahawks from the United States. You need Tomahawks, you need the launchers. And at the site of the elementary school, the Tomahawks are made in the U.S. You can see the crater marks from where the other Tomahawks struck facilities nearby. And why, you're saying that Iran used Tomahawks to kill its own people on the first day of the war? That's the first thing that it did, was do that somewhat near a military base? Like that makes zero sense, and it's a lie. And the United States is involved in this, horrific conduct. And by the way, this is what Hegseth would brag about, right? Hegseth's whole thing is, throw out the rules of engagement. Throw it out, right? Stupid woke rules of engagement, right? Our military is lethal. Lethality. Of course our military is lethal. Of course our military is the most powerful in the world in terms of like its size and scale and scope and ability to kill. But powerful people don't need to run around saying how powerful they are. That's actually what weak people do, right? Saying, we're gonna rain down death from above. That's pretty sick. But that's how the American people, that's how this Trump regime is speaking. And it has consequences. It's rallied the Iranian people around the new Ayatollah, Mojtaba, who's more extreme than his dad, the old Ayatollah. And you've got people out there who are, who are out there. I mean, Jeremy, do we have the clip? I'll show you Tehran Square right now. Watch from my cue, Jeremy, because I don't need to play the whole thing. Whenever I show what's going on Iranian TV, I always want to give you a disclaimer, because Iran is led by terroristic maniacs. I'm not trying to justify what they're doing. I'm not showing support for the Iranian regime. I always want to flag and contextualize, why am I showing you these things? Because in the United States, there is propaganda here that looks like the Russian propaganda you see about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. That's what our media shows you here. I do want you to recognize that there's Iranian propaganda as well, and they're going to put forward things on their state TV to show their version of events and to propagandize. But what I do want to show you is that there are a lot of people out there right now supporting Mojtaba, the new Ayatollah. And when you hear either in the background, it's loud, there are bangs, you hear explosions. It's been stated by Iranian media that those explosions are missiles coming in from the United States. I don't know that to be the case, so let me flag that. For all we know, it could be fireworks. It could all be part of an elaborate setup by Iran as part of their propaganda to tell the 100,000 people in Tehran Square, all right, we're going to set off the fireworks, everybody, and then everybody, when we do it, let's show the camera how angry you are. Do I know one way or another? Here's what I do know. I do know that Israel has been bombing the oil rigs in Iran, creating these mushroom clouds of black smoke that makes it look like a nuclear winter there. And I think in the future we'll find out that hundreds of thousands of people in Iran will die of cancers heretofore unknown as a result of the blowing up of these oil rigs and the chemicals that were released. We know that they were doing that. We do know that the United States and Israel has been targeting desalination plants of Iran for people to get drinking water, purified water. So we do know that. We do know that over 1,000 civilians, perhaps more, have been killed in addition to the 150 at the elementary school, have been killed by the United States and Israel so far. We know that Iran has responded by attacking the United States military, and they killed 7. An 8th soldier or service member died based on mysterious illness, and now we know 150 have been injured. We also know that Iran has been striking the Arab nations where there are American interests. So when I report this, what I try to do is do that framework, right? I'm just presenting to you what they're saying. We're saying what they're saying. They're saying what they're saying. He's saying what she's saying, what they're saying. And then you can form your opinions about this. But what news should be about is just providing you with the data. That's what I think my job here is. So let me just show you what's going on. Let's just play about 35, 40 seconds. Watch for me.
شاهد اجتماع حضور مردم هستیم در میدان انقلاب. ما نمیترسیم، ما اینجاییم، ما اینجا هستیم. مردم اینجا هستن. حتی در مقابل پدافندها در برابر موشک‌ها ایستادن. مردم ایستادن، اومدن بیعت کنن با امامشان. با امام خامنه ای آمدن بیعت کنن
Please hit the like button.
مردم آمدن بگوین ما نمیترسیم ما اینجاییم ما مردم شجاعیم بشنوید شعار مردم
So that's what's going on there. And that's happening in cities across Iran right now. Now you can say, hey, Ben, that's just a total setup. That's like a stage that they put forward right there. Remember, though, the Trump regime made it seem like there were going to be hundreds of thousands or millions of people in Iran the day the U.S. launched its unlawful invasion of Iran. Right? They were going to rise up. There were all these people, we were told, on day one who were going to do it. Remember, Donald Trump said, now take back your country. And everybody on Fox was like, and the Iranian people are about to rise up. Oh, and they would show images or film of, not in Iran, right? They would show footage of like Beverly Hills or footage of Iranian communities in areas where diaspora Iranians here in the United States are from. And they would say, look, look, this is what the Iranians want. This is what's happening here. And I think those Iranians here did want. I feel for these Iranians who are here in the United States, who have been forced out by a brutal Ayatollah, the Islamic Revolution, and they've had their assets stolen. And so for them to see, I understand it, to see the Ayatollah killed after what prior Ayatollah had done and what this brutal regime has done to their family, I get it. And that's why I wanted to be very sensitive and delicate. I have a lot of Iranian friends here in the United States. Let me be clear about that too. But when you had the Iranians protesting in the street in Iran against the Ayatollah, who was 86 years old, and Donald Trump said, get out there, I've got your back, when we didn't even have our ships nearby and no assets were marshaled to even help them, and the people believed the U.S. was going to help them, and Trump abandoned them, and thousands got massacred who went out on the street. And then Donald Trump bragged that he saved 700 protesters from being hung. They're probably dead right now, by the way, as well. By the way, Trump keeps sending Iranians from the United States who have sought asylum back to Iran by the thousands. The Trump regime, we don't hear about it a lot because often in the brutality of the Trump regime's ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo, they've gone after a lot of other groups as well that those stories are told more frequently. A lot of brutality happening there, but it's hard to keep track of everything this disgusting Trump regime does. But the Trump regime has sent hundreds, if not thousands, of Iranians who sought asylum here back to Iran, put them on planes, shipped them to Iran where they were probably killed. And they're probably dead right now. Just think about it. They're asylum seekers from Iran. They get captured by ICE or Border Patrol. They get put on planes, and they get sent to Tehran after being here. What do you think the Ayatollah did to them? Probably killed them. But we have no transparency. The Trump regime didn't even admit that 150 of our soldiers were wounded until it was reported by Reuters, and then the Trump regime had to confess and admit it. And by the way, you have Iranian leaders like Foreign Minister Araghchi also posting the following. He says this: U.S. officials are posting fake news to manipulate markets. It won't protect them from inflationary tsunami they've imposed on Americans. Markets are facing the biggest oil shortfall in history, bigger than the Arab oil, and the people believed the U.S. was going to help them, and Trump abandoned them, and thousands got massacred who went out on the street. And then Donald Trump bragged that he saved 700 protesters from being hung. They're probably dead right now, by the way, as well. By the way, Trump keeps sending Iranians from the United States who have sought asylum back to Iran by the thousands.
But he
Trump
wants to save
we don't hear about it a lot because often in the brutality of the Trump regime's ICE and Border Patrol Gestapo, they've gone after a lot of other groups as well.
They get bonuses for sending people over to them foreign countries.
A lot of brutality happening there. But it's hard to keep track of everything this disgusting Trump regime does. But The Trump regime has sent hundreds, if not thousands, of Iranians who sought asylum here back to Iran, put them on planes, shipped them to Iran where they were probably killed. And they're probably dead right now. They just think about it. They're asylum seekers from Iran. They get captured by ICE or Border Patrol. They get put on planes, and they get sent to Tehran after being here. What do you think the Ayatollah did to them? Probably killed them. But we have no transparency. The Trump regime didn't even admit that 150 of our soldiers were wounded until it was reported by Reuters, and then the Trump regime had to confess and admit it. And by the way, you have Iranian leaders like Foreign Minister Araghchi also posting the following. He says this: U.S. officials are posting fake news to
Come on, hit the
manipulate
like button.
markets.
Yeah,
Or
I'm finna get ready to
protect
go.
them from inflationary tsunami they've imposed on Americans. Markets are facing
3 hours and
biggest
16
oil
minutes
shortfall
in.
history, bigger than the Arab oil embargo, Iran's Islamic Revolution, and the Kuwait invasion combined. Now here's the thing. What he's saying is true right there. I could both recognize the Iranian regime is brutal, is terroristic, has engaged in horrible conduct, but I can also acknowledge that what this individual is saying is accurate. He is speaking with facts publicly, while the Trump regime is not. That is terrible. That is a terrible fact right there. That Donald Trump is out there spewing that Iran used tomahawks on its own people when we know that's false. It didn't happen. And we...
Is Zoom or Riverside better for podcasting? Most people don't know, but I got you. Riverside is your one-stop shop for creating your podcast, and it handles it.
All right, let's get to Epstein, since this is potentially part of the reason why we're in this war. Nobody really knows.
Absolutely part of the reason why we're in this war.
Has something to...
Let's get to Epstein. What is a go? Hey, Tracy, what are you saying? Mouse, Mustafa, Epstein. Hit the heart on the far right side of your screen, please. Get the likes up. We moving to Epstein updates. Oh, Lord. What a day. What a day. What a day. Y'all ready?
And developing this morning, the Lebanese government now asking the Trump administration to help broker peace talks with Israel, defending itself from Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. National News Desk Satra Al-Nashar joins us now live with the latest on this. Satra?
Yeah, Jan, with hundreds of thousands of his people displaced just in the last week and a half or so, the Lebanese president tells world leaders his country is ready to pick up negotiations with Israel in hopes of ending these campaigns of violence, hoping the United
Anybody
States
that
plays a
can to
role
speak
in
on
mediating.
behalf of
However, Axios reports that both the U.S. and Israel are skeptical
US.
and uninterested.
Now,
Last week, the
now
Lebanese government declared
they are
Hezbollah's
interested
military
because they
activities
scared they're gonna be
illegal
portrayed
and
the way
announced
they
plans to
betrayed
deport
everybody
any
else.
IRGC members found in Lebanon in a broader effort to crack down on Iranian influence. But so far, there's not been a strong direct effort to deploy the Lebanese military to disarm Hezbollah, though the president of Lebanon says he hopes to see a truce with Israel. And these proposed talks include help for his country's forces to do just that, to disarm Hezbollah. However, citing sources briefed on the discussion, the Financial Times reports that Israel is actually preparing for this confrontation with Hezbollah to last even longer than the war with Iran. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atra El-Nashar for the
And they
National
can't
News
even
Desk,
fight on their
America's
own.
News
Ooh,
I just got a
how you gonna be
$4,000
scary?
loan sent straight to my bank account. I'm freaking
Don't
out
can't
here
fight
because
your
now I
own
can go
war,
on
but want to
vacation.
go to war with folk dependent on the U.S. My. Hold on, let me get to the Epstein stuff. Talking about going to war, preparing for war, and your ass is scary. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
All right, let's get to Epstein, since this is potentially part of the reason why we're in this war. Nobody really knows, although I think a majority of Americans probably believe that this has something to do with why Trump felt the need to launch this insane war.
Absolutely.
We have some new, very significant developments on two fronts. So one directly does involve Trump. We've been talking about how some of the interviews with his most credible accuser, in terms of, in the context of Epstein, how those interviews were not available. Well, under pressure, they have now been revealed. So put that to the side. We'll talk about that in just a second. The other piece, though, has to do with a potential cover-up of what really happened on the day that Epstein died. Let's put this up on the screen. This is a pretty bombshell reporting here from the Miami Herald and also from the New York Post. The headline here is, and this is, of course, Julie K. Brown, prison guards discussed cover-up of Epstein's death, an inmate tells the FBI. I'll read you from the story. An inmate housed at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York told the FBI he overheard guards talking about covering up Jeffrey Epstein's death on the morning he died. The federal government's online Epstein library contains a 5-page handwritten report of an FBI interview with an inmate who awoke the morning of August 10, 2019 to the loud commotion in the special housing unit or
He woke.
where he and
Didn't
Epstein
say he
were jailed.
woke, right? So he
Breathe,
one of the
breathe,
ones that
he
fell
recalled
asleep.
officers shouting. Page handwritten report of an FBI interview with an inmate who awoke the morning of August 10, 2019 to the loud commotion in the special housing unit or SHU covering up Jeffrey Epstein's death on the morning he died.
He
The federal
woke.
government's online Epstein library contains a 5-page handwritten report of an FBI interview with an inmate who awoke the morning of August 10, 2019 to the loud commotion in the special housing unit or SHU where he and Epstein were
Cover
jailed.
up.
Breathe, he recalled officers shouting about 6:30 a.m. Then he said he heard an officer say, "Dudes, you killed that dude." A female guard replied, "If he is dead, we're going to cover it up and he's going to have an alibi, my officers," the FBI notes. The FBI notes said. The
Who
inmate
was the
claimed
dude?
The whole wing overheard
Who was the
exchange.
dude?
Later, after learning
Dude, you
the
killed
truth,
him.
"You killed that dude." A female guard replied, Breathe, he recalled officers shouting about 6:30 a.m. Then he said he heard an officer say, "Dudes, you killed that dude." In the special housing unit or SHU where he and Epstein were jailed. Breathe, breathe, he recalled officers shouting about 6:30 a.m. August 10, 2019, to the loud commotion in the special housing unit or SHU where he and Epstein were jailed. Breathe, breathe, he recalled officers shouting about 6:30 a.m. Then he said he heard an officer say, "Dudes, you killed that dude." A female guard replied, "If he is dead, we're going to cover it up and he's going to have an alibi, my officers," the FBI notes. The FBI note said the inmate claimed the whole wing overheard the exchange. Later, after learning Epstein had died, he said inmates said, "Miss Noel killed Jeffrey." He identified the female guard as Tova Noel, one of 2 correctional officers who were later charged with falsifying reports. So it appeared from their records they had made their rounds that night when they had not. The charges against her and the other officer, Michael Thomas, were later dropped, but both were fired. So that is one of the pieces here. We get another piece from the New York Post, which adds to the story of this one guard, Miss Noel. So this Epstein prison guard Googled him minutes before his body was found and also made mysterious deposits before his quote-unquote suicide. One of Jeffrey Epstein's prison guards, this very same one that the inmate said was involved, she had Googled Epstein minutes before he was found dead. So supposedly no one knew he was dead. And she's there Googling Jeffrey Epstein in prison. She also made a mysterious $5,000 cash deposit 10 days before the Predator's jail cell suicide, new Department of Justice documents reveal. She was one of 2 Metro Correctional Center workers accused of falsifying records. So, she's the one who was supposed to be there watching him. She's allegedly falls asleep and they falsified the records. That was the story. The guards were fired, but criminal charges against both were later dropped. Specifically what she Googled at 5:42 a.m. and then again at 5:52 a.m., 40 minutes before her colleague found Epstein dead in his cell, what she Googled was, quote, "latest on Epstein in jail." So she Googled latest on Epstein in jail 40 minutes before anyone found his body, allegedly. And then the other piece is this money that, mysteriously turned up in her account. Apparently she was shopping for furniture online. Apparently she was driving a fancy vehicle as well. I'm not sure that that's easy to come by when you're earning the salary of a prison guard. So some pretty significant questions here, Sagar, about, okay, was this investigated? What was determined? Did anyone ever look into where this cash came from? What the hell happened here? Because these are some pretty wild claims being made.
Yeah, the defense is, well, she Googled a bunch of the inmates. I'm like, okay, what about the cash? Also, it's a little weird. And then there was, the cover-up, and then there was all the cameras. And so, look, I mean, body double. Remember that? The body double?
Mm-hmm.
And then the press release draft that came out the day of where it was drafted the day before. None of this stuff adds up. The autopsy, and you put it all together. I just think it's so obvious that this is, I think it's so obvious that something much bigger happened here. Well, I don't believe the official story. That's it.
Period. And let me give you just a couple more details here about Ms. Noel. Apparently, her bank records showed 7 different cash deposits totaling $11,880 in the weeks leading up to and then immediately after Epstein's death. The largest one was that $5,000 deposit. She was driving a $62,000 Land Rover Range Rover, brand new, and she was not apparently asked about the cash during her DOJ interview. An internal FBI briefing, also released in the files, reveals the agency thought Noel was likely the mysterious orange shape spotted in a blurry surveillance video near Epstein's cell around 10:40 p.m. that night. So,
oh, baby, I earned you today. Jess, it's 5
wow.
on
mysterious cash, driving a fancy car, shopping for furniture, Googling Epstein before he's known to be dead, theorized to be that mysterious orange shape that they initially lied about and pretended didn't exist and then said must have been an inmate. And so I don't know. That's
draw your own conclusions.
Draw your own conclusions. Indeed. Okay, let's get to the Trump aspect of this story. So as we've been covering, the Trump accuser who had called into the FBI originally as an anonymous tip, but they found to be credible enough to have interviewed her 4 times. This was a woman who claimed in the 80s, when she was roughly 13 years old, that Trump sexually assaulted her, and that this, it was Epstein that, introduced her to Trump and enabled this abuse. And she also alleges that Epstein sexually abused her, as well as one other wealthy man from the Hilton Head, South Carolina area. And we'll get to that in a moment. So under pressure, the Justice Department has now released all of these interviews. We previously had access to only one. Now we have access to all of these interviews. We can put this up on the screen. Justice Department releases missing Epstein documents with Trump allegations. On Thursday, they publicly posted these records. The agency said the files, which include details from FBI interviews with a woman who told authorities she had been sexually assaulted by Trump and Epstein, had not been previously released because they were incorrectly determined to be duplicates of other records. Oh, oops. We just happened to withhold these ones. Sorry, guys. Made a mistake. Anyway, here they are. Justice Department has posted millions of pages of Epstein-related records online. The woman who was interviewed by the FBI in 2019 accused Trump of sexually assaulting her decades earlier when she was a minor. No evidence has emerged publicly to corroborate that accusation. The White House has, of course, called the allegations against Trump, quote, completely baseless accusations backed by no credible evidence. However, listen, and that is all true, right? We don't have any confirmation that this claim was actually true, that this is something that really happened. However, there are a few things to note here. Number one, the FBI did consider her credible enough that they interviewed her 4 separate times. Okay, that indicates that they took the claim seriously. Also, in addition to her reports and interviews with the FBI, one of her friends also actually called into the FBI to say, hey, this happened to my friend. Trump and Epstein sexually abused my friend. So you have not only her, but you have a friend as well who also separately called in to the FBI's anonymous tip line. Then you also have this. Let's put this next piece up on the screen. This is from the Post and Courier, which is based in Charleston, South Carolina. And so they dug into some of this timeline because she made accusations that a lot of this abuse, not the Trump abuse actually, but the Epstein and another wealthy man abuse happened in Hilton Head, South Carolina. So they say here, fuzzy memories and hard facts, and SC accusers' claims against Epstein and Trump examined. And what they found using archived government records and news accounts was that the woman did provide verifiable details to agents about her family background and its legal entanglements. She offered the name of an Epstein business associate on Hilton Head Island who became a central figure in the drama with specifics that are reflected in public records. So this is a horrifying situation. Allegedly, her mother rented out a number of properties. Hilton Head Island, you guys probably know, is like a big resort area. And one of the houses she rented to was to Jeffrey Epstein. Separately, she advertised that her daughter, who was 13 at the time, was available as a babysitter. And lo and behold, who, again, allegedly hires her is Jeffrey Epstein, who then proceeds to abuse her, proceeds to have a wealthy friend, business owner in Hilton Head, South Carolina, also abuse her. And then when her mother discovers that Epstein had nude photos of her, Epstein allegedly, again, extorts this then girl's mother and says, I'm going to release these photos if you don't pay me this money. So she goes to her boss, who is the wealthy business owner who is also abusing her daughter, and arranges to get this money to pay off Jeffrey Epstein, who is now extorting her. And this is all like she ultimately ends up being sued by this company for this money, etc. So there is a paper trail of all of these details which seem to match up with what the allegations ultimately say. And then the last part of this that is just so incredibly sad is that this allegedly pushes her mother into drinking. Her life falls apart. Of course, this young girl, 13 years old, her whole life falls apart. And, she's in and out of relationships after that and, struggling with addiction and all of those sorts of things. And one of her husbands said that she had told him that the reason she was so traumatized and, her life was such a mess was because of this abuse from Jeffrey Epstein. So again, we don't know about the Trump part of this story. Obviously, he denies it, etc. But the other details she offered in the context of this overall allegation and story do line up with the timeline, the places, the people, the even the court records, etc.
Yeah, I think the biographical detail confirmation is important. I will say on the Trump stuff, it is. I've looked into this one. It's very hard to believe. So Mark Epstein, the brother, says Epstein never had a property in South Carolina. Also, the year doesn't make any sense. So Epstein was only 30 years old in 1984. 1984.
The people, the even the court records, etc.
Yeah, I think the biographical detail confirmation is important. I will say on the Trump stuff, it is. I've looked into this one. It's very hard to believe. So Mark Epstein, the brother, says Epstein never had a property in South Carolina. Also, the year doesn't make any sense. So Epstein was only 30 years old in 1984. 1984 is long before he had any real money. This even predates his initial relationship with Wexner. There's no reason he would have known Donald Trump was already a billionaire at this time. Actually, 1984 is right around the time whenever he's fired from Bear Stearns, and then he goes and starts the J. Epstein company, the so-called, this is when I think he was involved in a lot of these deep intelligence activities. Now, the skeevy behavior part with Epstein may actually, it could be true. We don't really know for sure. A lot of that portion of his life is extremely unknown. So it is possible. We do know that he had the sketchy behavior with young girls at the Dalton School. And obviously, this is something he's been fetishizing and obsessed with, for a long time. But the Trump part of this one really doesn't make a lot of sense because there's just no reason that they would have known each other back in 84, and there's no public reporting around that at the time. Now, she could be getting the date wrong. It could be, it could be wrong, but she specifically says 1984, and everything I know about his life, it doesn't make any sense.
So the Bear Stearns fallout happened in 81.
Yeah.
And so in 84, he was operating this company he founded in New York that was allegedly providing...
J. Epstein company.
Yeah, right. Providing advice to wealthy clients, etc. So he has not fully established himself as the...
This is when I think he was an economic hitman. Like he was doing the Hoffenberg, the Ponzi scheme. 84 is it was before he's really rich, right? He didn't become actually rich until the early 1990s. So this is the time whenever he's working with Douglas Leese and Adnan Khashoggi. I think this is really when he got a lot of his intelligence bona fide. Also remember, in the early 1980s, that's right when he's working with Iran-Contra. I wouldn't put it past him, some of the behavior, necessarily. I hadn't heard, specifically, though, anything about extortion. Who knows, though? This is part of the problem. A lot of the early 1980s, we really don't know a lot about him. But the Trump part, on this one, I'm not buying it yet. At least that's from what I've seen so far. And I'm just saying, I call it like I see it. If I'd seen some stuff from the 1990s or any of that, I would definitely have believed it. I will say it's sketchy, not releasing it. That part, I think we can definitely agree on. Just want to make sure we give all that context. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Do not forget about our promo going on right now for a free month trial, BP Free 26. You can sign up at breakingpoints.com. Ryan and Emily will be on tomorrow.
Hold on. One more, and then I'm out of here. Hey.
Sure, they've
I just ran across a funny. That's Trump isn't telling America.
Tonight, in a rare show of unity from any party in Congress, I'm joined by not one, but 4 Senate Democrats who are now threatening to voice a series of war powers votes on Iran unless the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Secretary of State Marco Rubio testify publicly about the war. Virginia's Tim Kaine, California's Adam Schiff, New Jersey's Cory Booker, and Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin are all here. And thank you all for being here. Senator Baldwin, just on what you heard from the president today, is it clear to you how much longer this war could go on for?
No, and this president has been anything but clear from the very outset. Weeks before the war started, he said he might intervene militarily to support the protesters in Iran. Thereafter, he talked about their nuclear program. Thereafter, he talked about their ballistic missile program. Thereafter, he talked about regime change. Now he's talking
I'm
about
sorry. I
protecting
saw
the
funny.
Straits of Hormuz.
Let's go.
Tim Kaine, California's Adam Schiff, New Jersey's Cory Booker, and Wisconsin's Tammy Baldwin are all here. And thank you all for being here. Senator Baldwin, just on what you heard from the president today, is it clear to you how much longer this war could go on for?
No, and this president has been anything but clear from the very outset. Weeks before the war started, he said he might intervene militarily to support the protesters in Iran. Thereafter, he talked about their nuclear program. Thereafter, he talked about their ballistic missile program. Thereafter, he talked about regime change. Now he's talking about protecting the Straits of Hormuz, and we keep hearing reason and shifting rationale. Look, the reason we need hearings is to allow the American public to have a say in this war. This president went to war, a war of choice. We were not under attack. We were not under imminent threat of attack. And the American people, through their elected members of Congress, have not had a voice in this yet. And that's why we're demanding hearings.
Senator Kaine, I mean, I think a lot of people who are watching this or hearing what the president said today want to know how long the war is going to go on because they're paying way more in gas and they're seeing, what this is doing to the Americans
Can't
today.
afford groceries.
I wonder what you made of the timing of the president's comments.
Well, I think none of us know the answer to that. We've been in both open settings and classified hearings, and we haven't heard a rationale, we haven't heard a time length, we haven't heard a plan. And the question that we're asking is, haven't we learned enough from 25 years of war in the Middle East? Why do we need to be there now? And in particular, what the four of us want is public hearings. The administration has kind of come into this pattern in the last 13 months. Take military action without coming to Congress, not even consulting, much less getting approval. After the fact, offer classified hearings where we can't share with our own constituents the information about this war. I've got Virginians who were just told today they're going to be deployed with the George H.W. Bush carrier group in the Middle East. The carrier, the Fort, is already over the Middle East from Virginia. They're asking me questions for how long, what's the end game? I can't
There
answer
is no
even when I
end
know
game.
information
They don't
because
know.
They're only doing
Trump
this
does not
That's
know.
why we want to have the principals, Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of State come to the relevant committees and put this before the American public. There's a reason they're afraid to.
Well, and there have been those classified briefings, and Secretary Rubio, who was once Senator Rubio, says, that's more than we ever got when President Biden was in office. How much he's been up there, the questions he's answered behind closed doors. The administration might hear this tonight and say, well, we're doing what is standard procedure. What would you say to that?
I would say we're not in normal times, and most Americans know the math doesn't add up. This is administration that took a chainsaw cutting people's health care, millions of Americans losing health care, cutting veterans' benefits, seeing their prices going up on everything from energy to the cost increases because of the tariffs. At the same time, going to the most expensive military engagement we have had since the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is the biggest disruption of the oil industry we've seen, which is jacking up prices at the pump. So the math doesn't add up. This is a major military conflict with a major power in the Middle East, that American lives are being lost, and the Senate of the United States of America is rolling over and doing nothing. No oversight, no hearings, no checks and balances. Republicans in the Senate are letting this president act unilaterally, which the Constitution says there's no way a president can indiscriminately pick countries he wants to invade. That power lies in Congress.
Release
Congress
all of the
their
Epstein
power.
files.
And that's why the four of us, along with
Unredacted.
Senator Murphy, Senator Duckworth, and others, are saying enough. No more business as usual. Our country is in crisis. The costs for average Americans are skyrocketing, and this president wants to spend tens of billions of dollars in his adventurism overseas without coming to Congress.
So can you lay this out, what this looks like? I imagine they're not going to come testify publicly. We'll see if they take you up on your offer. If they don't, what will you do?
They're going to have to testify publicly. We know from the classified briefings there was no imminent threat of attack. So if there was no imminent threat to the United States, why are we at war? And they make no mistake in closed session or in open discussion that we are at war. So why? What is the case to be made for this when Americans can't afford their groceries, they can't afford their medicine, they can't afford the cost of living, and yet we're dropping $1 billion of bombs, it seems, every day in Iran. Let them make the case to Congress, let them make the case to the American people. I think they will have to come in and testify, and we want to maximize the pressure to make that happen. We haven't been in a war like this since the beginning of the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war. The president then at least sought authorization from Congress, tried to make the case to the American people. They haven't done this, and I think they haven't done it because they don't want to put themselves at risk, the senators. They don't want to go on the record this way, but they ought to have just a fraction of the courage our service members are displaying. They think this is such a great idea. Let them bring up an authorization, let them vote on it, but at a minimum, let them testify under oath. The president says we didn't bomb an Iranian girls' school. I'd like to hear the administration figures come and repeat those words under oath.
Do you believe when he says that, given what he said today?
I don't believe it, no. But I think there has to be
Thank you for saying you don't
sharing of
believe it.
intelligence with the Congress. I think we should find out exactly what the administration
Says that, given what he said today?
I don't believe it, no. But I think there has to be a sharing of the intelligence with the Congress. I think we should find out exactly what the administration knows, and frankly, we should find out when they knew it. If the president was briefed that this was an American Tomahawk, that tragically, for whatever reason, faulty intelligence or a faulty weapon, if he was briefed and he lied to the American people deserve it.
Caitlin, can I tell you something else we can't believe? I can't believe the president today called this an excursion. Imagine you're one of these families and you're watching your kid come home killed or your spouse come home killed. One is a Virginian. And you hear this president today trying to make light of it, calling it an excursion. That is so insulting. I hadn't heard that until you just said it. And my
pardon?
calls when I hear that kind of disrespect.
You know, Senator, I'm glad you brought that up because we do have video now of the dignified transfer happening right now, just a few moments ago, for the 7th U.S. service member who was killed in this war. It is 26-year-old Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington of Glendale, Kentucky. He was assigned to the 1st Space Battalion, the 1st Space Brigade, a unit that is within the Army Space and Missile Defense Command. He died after sustaining injuries in an attack last week in Saudi Arabia. And this is the dignified transfer that just happened moments ago at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. You can see there at the end of that line, Secretary Hegseth and Vice President Vance are on hand for this dignified transfer as the president is making his way back to Washington now. Obviously, this is an incredibly solemn moment for this family, to your point, Senator Kane, as they're bowing their heads before this transfer case where his body has been carried back to the United States, is taken to a van.
Hey Shay, hi Spartan, Fires. Staged. Peak Jagger. This is for the 7th soldier, where it's more than that. So I guess that they are choosing which ones they want to acknowledge that was unalived. Fraud after fraud after fraud. Condolences to the family. If it's real. This is the part that really pisses me off. He don't care nothing about our people, our young adults, but he don't want nothing done to his. Lyin'Sey Graham don't want nothing done to his. I mean, do he have any? So sick of him. Fallen soldier. Despicable. Probably does have kids just to throw off the, yeah. Dude closet as heck. Absolutely. Hey, Lewis. Absolutely. He definitely in Sasha Riley's case information. Young man. Lyin'Sey, yes, and it's way more than 7, 8 people. Trump didn't go. Vance and Hedgehog.
You've been watching the dignified transfer for Sergeant Benjamin Pennington
26-year-old member of the U.S. Armed Forces who was killed in Saudi Arabia. You didn't hear any audio in that, as that is a very solemn moment that happens at Dover Air Force Base when his body is welcomed back in that flag-draped case, with his family waiting, and as you saw, the Vice President and Secretary Hegseth there on the tarmac, as that flag-draped case was put inside that van just now. And Senator Baldwin, you know, there was a family friend of his who talked about how much his family was hurting as a result of this. And I think for everything we talk about, the public testimony, the evidence, all of this is a reminder of why there is such a strenuous debate. His family waiting, and as you saw, the Vice President.
This is the most recent military casualty that they are choosing to let us know. Trust me, there's more than 7 or 8. Now, how they're going about it, their selection, and how they are handling it makes it seem way suspect to me. But this is one of the military casualties. I think he's number 7 or 8 that, yeah. That, yeah, we need proof. Yeah. That they say was unalived in this war. That we shouldn't even be fighting.
His family waiting, and as you saw, the Vice President and Secretary Hegseth there on the tarmac, as that flag-draped case was put inside that van just now. And Senator Baldwin, you know, there was a family friend of his who talked about how much his family.
So one of the senators know him
and I think
personally.
For everything we talk about, the public testimony, the evidence, all of this is a reminder of why there is such a strenuous debate when something like this happens. Because what you just watched is a very real reminder of the human cost of the decisions that are made here in Washington.
It is a profound reminder of the cost of war.
Yeah,
and
this seems so
staged. Be
staged.
allowed to be an illegal, unconstitutional war in a
But yet y'all still let him get away with it.
Checks and balances, and it is precisely why we are calling on our Republican colleagues to stand up and be that check and balance along with all of us to highlight through public hearings what is happening. I want this war to end. I want to prevent other service.
Yeah, I'll be back around 8:30 with Candace.
I want to stop the waste.
Please hit the like button on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way
And I
in.
think the way we do that